two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is my brother, Sgt McClusky. What's going on, Sarge?
Well, it's not every week, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it sounds better than... I don't want to start the show by going, we're here 42 weeks a year, sometimes 46, all depending if we go on vacation and have days. Like, that doesn't sound as good, so we're here every single week.
Why'd you push in so much on my face?
I didn't touch it. I didn't touch you at all.
Maybe my head's just getting bigger.
Your head got larger. Your ears get bigger in your head. That's what I hear. Like, you get hair coming out of your nose and ears. Your ears get bigger and your head gets bigger. That's what I've heard. Generation X Gaming, weekly podcast, goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. We're here live Thursday nights right here on 30 NSG. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. You can also listen to us or watch us over anywhere podcasts are listened to. You can go to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or Anchor.fm. On Spotify, you can listen or watch the videos up there as well. We are up to date for the Generation X Gaming, and we also added, about 2 weeks ago, we added the Chatting With podcast that I do every once in a while on Wednesdays. The last guest that we had was Greg Owen. And then we also do the Daily Grind morning show. I've started uploading those as well. So if you go to Spotify and you type in 30 NSG, you can watch all 3 podcasts that are up there. So just give you guys more options if you're on the road at 3. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about New World. We're going to talk about Palworld. We're going to talk about Destiny World. There's a theme here. We're going to be talking about Nintendo World. No, I'm kidding. We're going to talk about Nintendo, and we're going to talk about Battlefield. We're going to be talking about Square Enix. We're going to be talking about Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to be talking about Electronic Arts. We're going to talk about the greatest show ever to hit Apple TV, Time Bandits. We're going to talk about Astrobot. We're going to talk about the Black Panther and the new Black Panther game and new features that EA is putting into it. We're going to talk about Concord, and if we have time, we'll talk about Hi-Fi Rush 2. Okay. We might not get to all these topics, so we just pick a few, and if we go through them, then we get to them all, but if not...
we win.
That's right. If not, you can always see all these links in our Discord. If you are a member, you can go to our Discord channel. In Discord, if you're a member of this channel, you go to Discord. You can help me pick my thumbnail in the mornings. We started doing that about 2 weeks ago to help me pick which thumbnail we're going to be using. You can also get involved with a bunch of different community tabs and whatnot. So appreciate you guys coming out. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Robert Jones? What's going on, Argus? What's going on, Eclipse, Roadkill, Kuda Papa, Krebsy, DTM? Good evening. Good evening. All right, Sarge, let's... Well, actually, before we get to what we've been playing, how was your week? How's your arm? Arm doing better?
Better. It's better.
Yeah. Still on.
Better.
Have you seen a therapist yet?
Anti-inflammatories, yes. Saw a therapist.
Nice. Doing some exercises for that arm.
Yeah. Hanging, dead gravity, spinning in a circle, and then trying to put it on my back, behind my head, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I had to. When I got in a car crash a couple years ago, I had to do all that. Therapy for like an hour a day up to like 6 months. I was there 5 days a week. So how many times you going?
It's self. I don't go like.
Oh, you don't go to a place. You've been doing your own things. I got you.
Yeah, I got the information, and we just follow the routine. I don't need to go be like, how do you want me to move my hand? You want me to move it like that, like this now?
Can you do this
next week? I don't remember last week. Which way you want me to do it? Like this? Like this one? Like this? Can I get that in writing?
Some people need the help. Some people need the motivation or whatever. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Let me tell you something. The minute that the world becomes a little bit more, you have to do it on your own type of thing, a lot of people are going to start dropping off like flies.
Well,
like, there's no adversity for basic stuff. Everything's just been handed to people for too long, man.
Well, this is
long.
This is why people stare at the self-checkout line. They just stand there and they go, "Like, you're next. You gotta move up. You gotta get up there." You gotta,
When you don't
scan.
challenge anybody, you get dumber. That's how it works. If you don't challenge people, they get dumber. That's the way it works. The best hunters are not guys that watch a bunch of shows about hunting. The best hunters are the guys who go out and hunt.
Right.
Right? Like, so whatever you're doing to do better, if it's not actually doing the thing, you're not improving at all.
Right. What's going on, Salty? What's going on, Dolphin? Noob Tech Guy. Evening. All right, let's get to what we've been playing. I like that music. It's like a little bongos in there. So another week, Sarge. Here's
Cultural
the big
appropriation, bro.
Here's the big question. Did Sarge play Baldur's
No.
Gate 3?
No, I haven't.
Still haven't
Honest
played
to
it?
God, I haven't. I told you, I got to be in the mood, man. Just not in the mood. Not in the mood.
Any other things that you've been playing besides New World? We're going to talk about New World.
I mean, you told me not to mention that, but yeah,
I know, but you're going to mention
let
it.
me-
That's why I'm telling you again. Don't do it.
Yeah, let me put it to you this way, though. I had to do some more research on MMOs of the past and MMOs current type of thing, because I was trying to wrap my head around what they were actually trying to do, and I think I got a good handle on what Amazon is trying to do.
Well, they're trying to do it.
We did Borderlands 2.
Well, we played Borderlands 2.
Yep.
We got to the bunker,
I think we got it right to where we're now. The next time we play will be the end. That'll be the end of it.
which will probably be right now. Tentatively, I have a podcast next Wednesday night, so it'll probably be 2 weeks when we finish Borderlands 2. I played a little bit of Fallout 76. They had an update. It's called
Milepost
0 or Mile.
Yep.
What it was? I forget what the actual.
That's it. Milepost 0. Yes.
Oh, it's Milepost 0. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's Milepost 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a caravan thing. So there's other. They've did another update within it. So you can now make legendary weapons. Like you can make your perfect roll, god roll type of stuff, right? So you get legendary script, which then you get to legendary modules, and the modules that you can start putting what you want, like specific things on that weapon. But it's a slow process. It'll take months for people to get the guns they want, or hundreds and hundreds of hours if you're doing it. The caravan thing's pretty neat. You go to the new section of the map down below. There's a little outpost that you go to, Milepost 0, and then you take Brahma cows and you start doing like little trade posts. So basically, you're like the UPS of or Amazon or Uber driver.
You're doing the caravan thing.
Yeah, you're doing the caravan, right? So other people in the community can help protect your caravan, right? And they're rewarded with supplies. And those supplies is a new currency.
Don't you have a companion following you?
No, there's no companion as of yet. I think you get them as you level up. So this is so you do these events and you get these supply tokens, which is the currency. They pay you in supplies. And then you take those supplies and then you can upgrade the base that you're in. So you can upgrade your base, you can decorate your base, you can hire new people to take care of the animals, you can do a whole bunch of other different stuff, right? Akuda Papa, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate that very much. Right, so you can do and level up your base. You can take it and level up different hire different people for it. So there's a lot of little things that you can do inside the actual game itself. Where I might have to shut that off for the alert box. So there's a lot of little things you could do to upgrade it. So right now it's a little taxing because like you're doing the job, you do the caravan, and it takes about 5 minutes for the smaller one. Then you can level up to a medium or a large, and the cow's got much more shit on his back, and it takes a longer trip. So instead of 5 minutes, it's like 7 or 10, right? They give you a 25-minute timer to do it. So when you're by yourself, it could be a little dodgy if you're not equipped, right? So, but what's happening right now, the community, I still say to this day, the Fallout 76 community is really, really good, right? So like we have the same people just doing the same. Like today, I played this afternoon, and it was the same 5 people that were just coming in, and we were just helping each other do the things because you're getting supplies for yourself, and then you're upgrading yourself, and then you're doing your things. So the community is just helping each other push through it and stuff to get up to the next point. So it's cool. They've added a bunch of different.
Who's attacking the caravan? Is it
all different types of
all different factions?
All different factions, bugs. animals, the new faction, old factions, raiders.
What about other players attacking your caravan? Does that happen?
Well, I would think in the past that's what they wanted to happen in Fallout 76, but that's not what happens in Fallout 76. Like, people still attack people, but they'll die in 3 seconds because most people come and help if you're being attacked, and then if you kill somebody else, you have this, everyone sees you on the map and you don't see anybody else on the map, so they can come and attack you and kill you and get credits for you. So
it's more like a skill game if you want to be an asshole.
Sure, but nobody attacks anybody because the community was like, fuck you, we're not doing that, right? And they just want to help each other. They just want to play a PvE experience. So that's what everyone's doing, right?
So there's no trolls.
Very few. Very few. You might get someone to come over, but it's a I smack you, and if you shoot me and I shoot you, then it's on, right? It's not just you come over to me and you can kill me. It doesn't work that way. That's how it was. That's how it was in the very beginning. But the community didn't want to do it. They wanted it to be like a all every man for themselves type of thing. But the community was like, yeah, we're not playing that way. We're playing like, hey buddy, you want to come hunt with me? Yeah, sure. Let's go do missions together. That's the way the community is. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. And then what else have I been playing? I played a little bit more of Towerbourne. I like Towerbourne. It's early on. They made a couple of changes. They did a patch after on Tuesday, and I played on Monday, so I don't know what the patch did. Supposedly it made some good quality of life changes. They're very here's the one thing I gave criticism about, and it's in early access, right? So it's like preview program. They're fixing things. I'm using the sword and shield guy. I forget what the guy's what the actual class is. Eclipse, if you can help me. What's the class of that, right? I think it's strike or something, if I'm not mistaken. But so I'm the sword and shield. I go and I get my rewards, and I get that the armor is shared between everybody, so all your classes. But if I'm not using the other classes, okay, but then I decide I want to use them, I can move the armor and use the same armor that I'm using on myself or other armor to use for their builds, right? But what I don't like is what happened in Destiny 1, okay? In Destiny 1, remember when gear was dropping for other classes? Like, you would be the hunter, and then you would get rewards for the Titan or the Warlock. So to stop that, everyone started making like 3 Warlocks, 3 Titans, 3 Hunters. So when everything dropped, you would always get the stuff that you would have. So you had more opportunities to do that. That's what's happening here, right? So the weapons that I'm getting more weapons for the other classes than I am for myself. And I was like,
it's their way of making you switch over.
Sure. Okay, but if I want to grind my character, I want to make a better weapon for my character, then I'm okay with if one thing drops, but I'm getting stuff which drops for every other class but my class for the weapon. So I was like, that's kind of stupid. I was like, I feel like you're giving me that, but I have less opportunity, so I have to go play another class to get this class to go. Just put a higher percentage of the character that I'm using for those weapons to drop more frequent than just any weapon that drops, right? Now, people push back a little bit on Discord. They're like, well, this is why I like it, so it makes you play the other characters. I'm like, I understand that. But at the same time, the armor's fine because armor drops and everyone can use the armor. But if I'm using the striker class or whatever it's called, a sentinel, thank you, right? Then let me grind for sentinel weapons, right? I don't want to get the gloves or the knives for the other classes because it's taking up space that I don't need, okay? Because what about if I'm a player and I decide I don't ever want to play those classes, right? Like, it should be my choice as the player. Like, I'm playing your game. You let me play the game how like you want me to play. But at the same time, what about if I don't want to play the other 3 classes? What about if I just want to play that one class and you're rewarding me to play the other classes type of thing? You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm wasting my time now because if I'm playing the Sentinel class and I don't get the gear to drop, then I'm like, well, this is kind of frustrating. I can't get a better a better piece of weapon. I can go to the tower and I can upgrade my sword and shield, but only 2 points. So if I find a 27, I can update it to a 31, right? But that's not good enough. I want to be able to go to the next level, grind for that gear. But that's my only discrepancy with what they're doing with that game. They're making the same mistake as Destiny 1. And obviously we know Destiny 1 changed that so that when you were grinding something, you would get the weapons that you got for your character.
I mean, you should
respect your time.
Since you're switching characters anyway in that type of game, you should only be getting armor for the class that you're playing.
Well, armor's shared for everybody, which is fine. But the weapon is the big problem for me.
Either way. Like for Destiny was the armor. Everyone can use the same weapons.
Right.
This one's the other way around.
Right.
Same
it's
thing.
The opposite. Yeah.
But
so
you still should be getting the Witcher classes. It's just wasting your time.
All right. So, is there any other games that you're playing before we start talking about New World? Because New World we're going to talk about for a bit.
I mean, basic stuff, nothing out of my normal rotation.
All right, so let me break down what they're adding to New World before we get into how we played New World, because Sarge and I played New World this past weekend in the beta. He got to level 30, I got to level 30. I actually got to level like 46 because I had another character at 16, and then I had to start over, and we'll talk about those problems with the server and type of stuff, right? So inside this new New World Aeternum, which is the rebranding of New World. Basically, it's the second expansion for PC users, because I forget what the Wild Beast or something, I forget what it was called, whatever the other expansion was. So this game came out 3 years ago on PC. They had a small upgrade to the mounts that came into the game with the one expansion, and now they have this one coming out. And if you're a console player, you buy it for $60, you get all of them for $60, right? So the discrepancy, though, so if you're a PC player, you've got to pay the full price again, and you're only getting half of it. And if you don't get the upgrade, then you don't get the mounts, right? But the console gets the mounts because it's all part of the whole thing. Okay, so now there'll be people that have been playing the game for 3 years that might not have a mount at level 20, but the people that just buy the game will have a mount at level 20. So there's a little discrepancy there with the players. They're saying just take the mount and just put it in the regular game at level 20, so people can unlock it and then run around with mounts, okay? But here's some of the updates that they're bringing into the game, okay? They're revamping the storytelling approach, which they did. The complete... You never played it before, but that whole opening scenario is completely different now, okay? They've added enhanced dialogue, okay? They added a 10-player raid, which we didn't get to do. I think it was there, but we didn't do it, right? Because I think it showed up on the map, but I didn't play it. They added a PvP zone. Okay, now the PvP zone inside this game, I don't know if I like it, right? So every man for themselves. They almost made it like a mini extraction game within the game itself. Okay, so when you go into this PvP zone, that's where it's Albion Online all over again. This is where the highest resources are. Okay, the highest scale resources are. You can get the resources, but if you die, you lose those resources. You have to extract out of that zone to keep those resources. Okay. People that like PvP, I'm sure they're going to love it, but not really for me. Okay. The endgame soul trials is going to be in the game. The gear score increases to 725 now. Okay. Matchmaking's better. They have cross-world arenas, which is, 1v1 type of stuff like that. Okay. They have up-leveled cutlass key zones. Okay. Swimming's in the game now. They had a section in the opening where you were actually swimming through water. You couldn't touch the water before. You could go in it, but you couldn't swim. Now you can swim in the actual game. Combat improvements. I did notice that. The combat felt better in the game. They have performance optimization, which I thought was, for me, Sarge, I don't know if it for you, but it ran super smooth for me. I had it at running in performance mode with the 4K, with the uncapped, whatever, and it ran super smooth.
I'm not sure if I saw a big difference. I think it's just the stability of the game is decent. I had it on 4K, unlimited, uncapped. I didn't have a problem. I only had that sound glitch, but I think it might be my head starting to go.
No. I was having the sound glitch as well.
Were you?
Yes. It started all garbly. Yeah, it started all garbly.
Yeah.
You would hear the audio like stutter and go, burr, 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 and then it would like slow down, and then it would like waver in. Yeah.
But the game didn't slow down.
No. Just the audio.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So usually when that starts happening, that's time for a crash or something's about to happen. Usually when the sound does that. But the game never stopped or lost frames. It was just the sound that was getting kind of messed up.
They have cross-platform play, and then it says fresh start world is going to happen in there. Let me see what else they have here. Yeah, that's it. So those are all the new things that are coming, plus the mounts. The mounts are in the game and stuff like that. I thought, and I'll let you speak first, but I thought the beta test was actually pretty smooth. It got me excited again because as I was running around, it felt so nice playing in the world and it felt alive again. There were so many people playing the beta this past weekend. It just felt good. Like you went into a town, there was tons of people, and there was tons of people when you went to a mission area that you would just murder things super fast and level up fast. Where my experience down the road when I was playing on PC, once that faded away and you're going through places and you didn't have any friends to play with, it was brutal. And the end game wasn't bad, or it was bad. I don't know how the end game is now because in the beta we didn't get to really play it. So what was your experience, Sarge, about New World? Did you like it? Didn't you like it? Tell us all about it.
Well, I thought we were going to go back and forth.
We
I
are.
wasn't
We
going
are.
to. I wasn't going to do a book report, but after researching MMOs for a little bit and then playing it, like I've played numerous MMOs over the years. My first take is I really, really liked the time period because
first
I'm
of
a
all,
history.
what's the
I'm a
last?
history guy.
What's the last MMO you played?
The last
Was it
MMO.
what was it? ESO?
Are we considering Destiny an MMO or not?
No. Like an MMO. Like was it ESO? Elder Scrolls Online?
A real MMO? ESO.
Or was it Final Fantasy? I think you played Final Fantasy a little bit.
Well, I go back and forth, so maybe one of those two, Final Fantasy and ESO.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like the time period that they chose. However, once I started getting into the game and seeing the classes and the weapons, it's not really that time period. They kind of mash together like 500 years of time period because there's like 16th century musketeer, 12th century knight. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everything from like 1200 to like 1700. You know, it's like this menagerie of characters, right? So I found it a little strange, but I liked it. The look of the game is really good.
Yeah, it looked fantastic.
Like the way the world looks is good. The foliage, the rocks, I'll give you an example. Like I talked to Aku last night. Like when you play it like the old style MMOs, like when you went from like a forest area to like a desert area, there was like no transition area. There was like there's trees, and you can almost like see the line or the area of where it was, and then you're going into a different zone. This one's an actual world. Like I don't see any demarcation lines anywhere. The world's the world, right? I thought that the way that you gathered resources was a lot more connected to the world. Like if you chop down the tree's gone. The tree trunk is there.
You could literally destroy the entire forest outside the base.
You could clear cut if you wanted to, but there's stumps still there. But then after a while, the tree will grow back in the same area where the stump was.
Correct.
Right. So it looks kind of cool in perspective of like, if you know a town's resourcing a lot of stuff, there'll be no trees, right? Now, of course, it was a beta, but I think that the respawn rate was a little high because you could just sit there and camp out. Like I got level 100 lumber, like 100 chopping before I finished the game because now, of course, I'm sure things are geared up. I'm sure that you get a lot more experience during the beta because they want you to try it out. I understand. But if that's the case, why make me chop down the tree at all? Let me just make the items that I can make. You know what I mean? Like if they weren't going to put a cap on it, then just let me do the thing. Like don't let me have to chop down 10,000 trees to do the high level crafting. Because of that though, now I know from past resource gathering things in MMOs, if the item doesn't respawn someplace different, and it respawns in the exact place that you found it, then people are going to find the areas that have the high-end resources and just camp them out type of thing.
Right.
That's always a thing to watch out for. Like if you find a thing on the mountaintop where the iron ore is, and iron ore happens to be like low level to mid level, you would just camp the area that has the most iron ore spots, right? I found the weapon thing interesting. You could use any weapon you want, which kind of changes your class.
There's no
little
class.
Bit because
you pick the class that you want. What you're picking is your skills at a higher to help you out. So if you're a person that wanted to be a scavenger first, or you wanted leather or wood or stone, you would pick that class over everybody else.
Now, if everybody, now, my opinion only, of course. Now, if everybody can be everybody or anyone. If everybody can be anyone, then there's not really any special people. Like there's no special level of this guy because everybody can be everybody, right? So it's a little off-putting on that one because like there's no like you're a class that's needed, right? I'm not saying it's completely bad, like because you're getting rid of like the tank healer damage dealing whole trope, right? Anybody can do anything type of deal. Now, what I found interesting is you have swords, but then you have a gun. Now, I thought it was cool at the beginning because I thought it was going to be like a musket type thing. You couldn't fire that rapidly.
Well,
that was all you can, but you can't. Depends.
Right. Well, real quick before you continue, when the game originally came out, you had to make ammo for the guns.
And
It
I'll
was
tell you,
horrible.
a-
It was a
and I'll tell you,
horrible mechanic.
it's not a horrible mechanic, and I'll tell you why. Because the way that game is structured,
Oh, it was
as
horrible.
far as I'm telling you, you're going to have ammo, and I'll tell you why. Because when it comes down to the actual faction battling for like a town or for the forts or whatever, if the gunplay stays the same without ammo, then the actual opening salvo of people of people attacking each other is almost kind of like the old school thing. Like you got a bunch of guys lined up, they're all aiming at the guy that's attacking first, and they all fire at him at the same time, right? So the only way you can stop a guy from shooting you is to get into melee combat with him, right? And so what you'll have is you'll have lines of guys guarding the fort, and they'll decide who they're going to aim at, and everyone's shooting at the same guy.
Sure.
Right? So, but if I'm behind the fort and you got to get to me, then it becomes like a gun battle
Well,
for the most part until you can find a way
well,
into the fort.
yeah, but I'll tell you, this is how it turned out the last time. When you had to make
Go ahead.
bullets, the factions that had the most people in it, okay, had the most people making the resources, which had the most people making the bullets, and those people would devastate everybody else because you had no shot whatsoever as the other group of people that was trying to take over anything because they had the bullets and you had very little bullets, okay? And because
that would be more fair than everyone has guns and shooting all day long.
Now it's when you're playing by yourself, you don't have to worry about, oh shit, I'm 12 people deep into this dungeon, I ran out of bullets, fuck me, right? And you're shit out of luck, right? So
but
now
that's how it would go.
Yeah, but let me tell you, it was a terrible mechanic. It was so bad when they did this originally. Now when they did this, I was like, as soon as I started firing the gun, I was like, wait a minute, there's no bullets. I was like, this is so much better.
It's not that it's bad, but it's a gun game first then the sword is what I'm saying. Right?
There's ways
if you introduce now let me get into it though, right? Now Amazon is definitely going for the casual gamer.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Casual
right?
gamer, MMO,
Because,
stay in the game,
yes.
get the microtransaction type of
Yes.
stuff, like live in the world.
Yes, they don't want you to be too difficult. But now you're not going to pull people away from like a World of Warcraft or a Warframe or those kind of or an ESO. I don't think you're going to pull people away. Maybe they'll try it, but I think the level of complexity of this game is simple enough to where you don't have a lot of options, right? If you level up your weapons, you have what, 6 abilities between the 3 weapons, 3 abilities on each weapon. It's not a lot of choices, right? Now, can you block and dodge? Yes, that's kind of cool. But once again, same thing I'm talking about now. It's if I'm in a faction and I'm fighting you, we are gunning you down first. We got guys gunning. And then people who run in and try to mix it up, then you'll have like one guy who breaks away to fight the other guy, but you're still gunning down people. It's not an easy thing to introduce that time period with rifles and then hand-to-hand combat.
I think there's
right?
enough space though between the guns. Like you can't just rapid fire. It's 2 shots and then it's a slow pause in between to reload, and that's plenty of time. Hold on a second. That's plenty of time for someone with a hatchet or someone to close the gap in real fast and then start hacking at you, right?
Sure. If this is a 1-on-1 situation or a 2-on-1 or
Sure.
2-on-2, sure. But what I'm talking about, we're taking over a town. We got to take over the fort. Like it's an actual battle between factions.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. We'll see how smooth they are when people start doing this.
Well, all I'm saying is I can see the holes when you have guns and sword play. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there was more holes before, and that's why they changed it the way it is today.
Now, I did see some of the, I guess, the instance, the dungeon things. I went into a couple of those. Now, once again, I know it's a beta, but I think that the number of guys in the area is in a way that if, like you were saying before, if
it's
you
a beta
were
for console, it's not a beta for the
yourself,
game.
Well, whatever.
The structure's there. Like right now,
It's
people are still
beta.
playing on PC. Like the game's there.
There's a lot of it doesn't matter. There's a lot of enemies that if you get into an area that you're going to be stuck.
Oh yeah,
because it went well because people are running around slaughtering everything.
Yeah, everyone was together. Yeah,
but you can get yourself into a position where you might not be able to get out of someplace at a certain level because they respawn too quickly. Like they're not.
That was
dead
my
for a
issue
long
when I was
time.
playing solo. When I played solo on PC, when I was playing with people, it was fine. But when I was playing by myself, in my example that I've always given, let's say there's 10 guys before you hit the boss, Okay, I kill 1 through 3, no problem. I kill 4. Maybe the 5th guy is like a mini boss before you get to the bigger boss, right? So as I kill 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get to the mini boss at 5, he's pushed me back a little bit. He's a little tougher. All of a sudden, 1, 2, 3 spawn back in, and now I'm fighting 4 guys instead of just the mini boss type of thing, right? But if you're with a group, just slaughter everybody super fast and get to the boss, and then you're fighting. It's really cool. There's like a balance issue when it comes to like a one solo player compared to a group of players.
It depends on what they'll allow you to block when you block. If a block is basically I block all damage for half a second, or if it's I only can block when I press the button to block. Like I like the combat system because it makes it feel like it's intuitive and you're actually fighting, you're actually having the sword fight as opposed to auto attacking and it's a percentage of hitting.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
they have that in the game. So Robert Jones is bringing it up. He says, and now they have a lock on, so you can lock on to a target. Okay. And when you lock onto the target, nothing misses. Okay. But when you shoot a gun and you shoot at somebody, if they duck and roll or whatever, move out of the way, you don't hit them because it doesn't automatically burn. It shoots where you were, not where you're going. You see what I'm saying for the guns, and that's why that's the way it is.
Well, the way I was shooting and testing out the guns, by the way, there was even though the hitbox might be the hitbox, I was moving back and forth and firing before and after the guy and then running through them. So the hit counts as long as like the shot is being dragged through the thing. It's not like it's
right. So it's like an iframe that's you're hitting.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I like that because it's not really an accuracy thing. It's just as long as the cursor's close and you're doing this.
If you lock
you
on,
can actually get it.
If you lock on with the gun,
I don't like lock on.
I know, but if you lock on with the gun, it only shoots to the chest. It doesn't shoot towards the head. You have to do manual to lock with the head. Now I didn't experiment with it where if I could lock on and then flick up to the head and then like get the shot. I didn't practice with it, but PvP is going to be interesting with the gun with the locking on.
I don't like lock on, bro.
Well, that's what they have now.
I get it. I get why they have it, but it's especially when you have guns and swords. I'm telling you, opening volley of stuff, people aiming at a guy, you're done. Can't block bullets, right? It doesn't matter what armor you have on, you're going to get hit by multiple guys with a gun.
There's always rock, paper, scissors. I think there'll be a way.
If they're trying to make combat a little bit more intuitive and
they made it feel better for sure.
Like you're actually having a sword battle, then I like it. But if it's down to the I'm locking on, it's an auto hit, it's a percentage of thing. Like I mean, the game is basic enough as it is with the abilities. At least make me have to work for the abilities to work up combos for myself. Like an opening volley with a gun, the 2-shot thing, the power shot, then switch over to do a combo, a heavy combo into a move, into a, you know what I mean? Like people learn how to use.
People will play like that. Yeah, people will play like that. What I liked about the game a lot, what I liked about it originally, and again when I played it, even though I played it on PC, I really liked it on console. I thought it ran like super smooth. And there was a shit ton of people, and I was like, well, this is a good sign that they made a good optimization, good port for the console. 2, the sound design in this game is spot on, man. I love all the sounds between the gun, chopping down the trees, hitting the rocks, like the screaming, the ambient sounds, all the stuff. It's the sounds are so important in the game like this because you're going to be doing something over and over and over, like chopping a tree, right? Like scavenging stuff, and that sound is satisfying. Remember when you played Red Dead Redemption and you had to skin an animal, and it was like and it was like slow and the sound was very, and you're like, I don't want to do it. In this game, like when you chop a tree or you skin an animal, the sound quality is just so good, and you're like, yeah, I could keep doing this for 100 levels, right? Like it's so good with the sound quality design.
I'll agree with the sound to a point. I think I like more along the lines of that the way they have it set up, that you're hearing the sounds of other people doing things.
Yeah, all around you.
Like you can hear horses galloping and roaring up behind you, like the low roar. You hear the gunshots in the background. You're hearing people chop trees or rocks in the background as you're riding around. They must have some kind of like proximity sounds, but they're all at different levels depending on where the person is, which I like that.
And the echoes based on right, and the echoes if someone's hitting something and they're echoing off the rocks or the mountain or the buildings next door to you and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I like the musicians in the game. So I did this like about a year and a half ago when the musicians came in.
That reminded me of Star Wars
Galaxies. Yeah. So you can learn new music and learn different instruments. And it's did you try it at all? Did you try to play the music?
Yeah, I tried. I did. I think I picked the bass. I think was
where the little Guitar Hero thing pops up and you have to hit the yeah. And I think that's done really well because as you do it, it does this circle around you, and anyone in that circle you can buff. Right. And then they have the option once you're done with the song by how well you played gives them the buff, how good the buff is. Okay. And then they can tip you, which I thought was, I think that's I like stuff like that because there's a reason for it. I used to love being a bartender in Star Wars Galaxies, right? I would mix the drinks, get behind the bar, mix the drinks, hand people drinks behind the thing. You would actually chat and talk with them, right? And then they would tip you. Give me all these drinks so they would have buffs and stuff as they do while the people are playing instruments. You know what I mean? Like it was like this nice community that was going on within the world.
But they were just the dancer. If everyone can be everything, then it's not special.
Sure. But I think what happens is I think some people won't want to be a musician at all, right?
It's not about wanting to be a musician. It's about wanting the buff before combat.
Correct. But you can't give the buff to yourself.
But you're going to be playing with your friends at least. Someone will change over.
Well, once you start it, it's a circle area. No one else can start playing. You have to invite other players to play with you. The more people you get into your thing, you could be a full band.
The buff.
Yeah, it's for the buff, right? And then better buffs. I don't know. I just think it's a cool idea and the thing. Another thing that you don't get to see is the cities evolve over time, right? So
do they?
Yes, when the faction.
I heard that, but do they?
Yeah, the factions and the actual landscapes of the town change based on the factions and how much money they invest into the actual town. That was happening before, so that's always a cool thing. I like
what
how
you mean by change. Those cities are behind walls. What's changing?
That changes, like the actual walls and stuff. They get bigger and they expand, and like there's more space and stuff. At least that's what it used to do. I don't know if it does it now.
So then what about these forts that I see that are outside the towns, like the PvP area?
Yeah, that's the arena battles and stuff like that. That's just for places to like if factions want to fight and whatnot. You could fight anywhere.
What's the war? So then what's the war camp?
I don't remember. Chad, do you guys remember what the war camp?
Because it looked like to me that the war camp was right near the fort. So I'm thinking that like that's the spawning area to get buffs and whatever else, and you're supposed to attack the fort of the opposite team that has it.
I bet you Xbox Live could tell you.
Is what it looks like. Is what it looks like.
Yeah. Here's the thing that here's the thing with New World. If you're looking, because Jay Breezy's asking in chat, he's like, "What's a good MMO?" If you're a casual person and you don't want to like plan your whole day like, hey, Friday, I'm going to be on for like 10 hours. Like, New World is a casual MMO, but it can also be a hardcore MMO for you. So if you want to play New World, you could come in by yourself, level up your skills. You can go on some missions, and then there's also raids and dungeons that are matchmaking. So it's very good that way. And you have to just tell what class you want to be. You can either be a tank, a healer, you know what I mean, like, or or DPS, okay? And you have to say what class you want to be, and then other people matchmake with you, and they fill in. It's actually really good. I like New World, and what I really like about it, and that's why I asked you. I said, because Sarge didn't play it when it first came out. I said, if you're interested in getting this, I will buy it again for console because I would like to play with someone and go through just the story campaign. There's so much story and like campaign stuff to do in this game before you even get to endgame, right? Endgame was the worst part about New World when it came out, and I can't tell you if it's still bad, but that was the worst part about it. But leveling the characters up and like just seeing like when you get on the beach for the first time and seeing everyone there, and then as you go to the cities, and then people start separating, and then they start going to factions. Like in this beta, they didn't force you to pick a faction right away. In the old way, you had to pick a faction by level 10. Okay, I didn't join a faction at all during the beta. They didn't even.
I saw the people with the emblems, but I never picked
well, you saw those people because we were still playing with crossplay with people on PC, and they already been living in the world, right? Like that's what it is. So if anyone's interested in New World and you're getting in, there's a lot of people making content on it. Go check out that content. But I would recommend getting in on day one if you are, okay, because it's been out for 3 years. It's not like it's an early access game. It's here. It's already here. People are playing it right now, okay? But if you're going to play on console, I would recommend day one because they're going to have fresh start servers for those people, and everybody on that server is starting at the same time, right? So then everyone's going to grow and expand and do, obviously, we all have the same time, but hours, someone could play 12 hours, someone plays 5, and they're start going to pull away.
What I did notice for the crafting side of it is it looked like it was almost kind of like Star Wars Galaxies in the sense that I didn't get a lot of drops in the wild. It seems like you have to make the weapons that you want by crafting.
Right. Well,
That's
you
what it seemed like.
you need crafting because at the when you get to end game, that's the way you're getting the best weapons. That's the way you're getting your best gear. You need the materials out in the world for the rocks, the very.
I
That's
get
what
it,
you're doing.
but because that's the mechanic, you're going to have people scouring the planet,
Yeah.
harvesting everything, and
Yep.
the rare items are they don't spawn on the same spot. They just kind of happen to spawn, maybe.
Correct. This is why you join
Right.
factions, and when you have factions, then you have people that are scavengers. You have people that are just guarding things. So while people are scavenging, people are guarding, so those people don't get ganked. Okay, like you have actual like cooperation. It's a completely different game when you're doing the higher end stuff compared to because the groups and the factions that are at that same part trying to get the highest gear so they can make the best gear so they can get the whatever the highest tier of the game.
Why? And I was asked the same question.
Just to get the
Why?
gear, just to get to that
Just to get
final
the gear?
boss,
Is it
just to do the
because-
raid.
Is it because of PvP? Is it because I'm fighting a faction?
that
Is it
would
because
be-
I needed to kill a boss.
Well,
If I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours grinding for resources in order to build a weapon, then what am I using the weapon for?
I would assume it's for higher tier content, and then if you're part of a faction, it's each their own, right? You would play once you get that gear, you would stop playing until the next DLC or something comes out. If you're a person that gets that part and you want to play with your friends and you're just at the highest level and you're just being in that faction, is it about taking over territories because the territories get taken over? Maybe you want to take over the whole map. Like there's a bunch of different like personal goals I guess you could do. It's not just as simple as like, well, once I get to the end boss, like what's there to do, right? You can start another character.
Well,
I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff.
So when you guys played it on PC, then my question is, what instigates whether or not who controls the town? Is it a time frame? When can you attack a town if you're an opposite faction? Anytime you want, or specifically, or how does that work?
I forget. I think the way it used to work is, and again, this is like 3 years ago, you would submit a time that you're attacking. Okay, like you would attack, and then it would say like Tuesday. They're attacking, so everyone would get on, and you would have it because sometimes it would show up. It'd be 50 versus 10 because the other faction didn't show up, right? And they would just get slaughtered, right? But I think it was 50 versus 50, if I'm not mistaken, is the max of the thing. It could change, I don't know, but that's how it was, right? Because I remember the whole like Twitch streaming thing that was happening on. There was different teams and battles, and they were having time slots of when
Is there a time limit to the battle? Or it just goes on until someone wins? Because if it goes on until someone wins, if you're outnumbered, you can never hold it off. If it's tactful and there's a time limit, and the guys who are outnumbered can still find a way to hold you off for long enough, then
I think it was
what I mean?
You have to take over that fort or whatever it is, right? So if in that territory that fort's there, and someone owns that territory, and someone wants to attack that, if they take it, then it's their territory, it's their thing. So you go until it's beaten. I don't think there's a timer. I don't remember a timer. Argus says. You don't need to worry about the economy. Be not a bum and make all your own shit and do your own end game shit easy. He also says New World is for everyone and one level or another. It's more for everyone that has most MMOs in the marketplace and present. Right, and I that's what I think. I think it's like it's almost like when you have a kid and you give them your first Fisher Price, like the speak and spell or whatever else, like the kid's first. This is kid first MMO, but it's not a kid MMO. What I'm saying is it's a casual MMO where if you're
definitely casual.
If you're overwhelmed by MMOs, like you don't want to play back in the day like an Ultima or Star Wars or World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft is overwhelming for any new person.
Correct. This is not overwhelming. This could be like a slow, like you come in solo, you can play it solo, and then start to dabble in, oh, there's a faction. Let me go in the faction. Oh, there's a group. Oh, there's raids. There's so it's a much easier MMO to get involved in. And I'll be honest, I played the first like 30 hours all by myself by just chopping trees, leveling up my skills, making weapons and whatnot. When I first played. Let's see. Anybody else in chat saying something? Pretty much a 3D RuneScape, and just needs better in the game, right? Here you go. Xbox Live says some prefab tab targeting and others like me prefer action combat. This is what I mean when I say it's not for everyone. Right. I'll tell you what. ESO, if they had the combat of New World, that would make ESO so much better. Because Elder Scrolls Online, I love that game, but the combat was always a little lackluster to me. And I feel like if they adopted the New World combat, ESO would be a better game. Not better than like New World, just a better game overall. It would be a better game. So, anything else, Sarge, with New World?
Let's see what else. I thought the story was interesting. The whole Scarlet Witch type person with an evil power. I never
they had
tried
a new pirate chick they added to the game. They added a lot of new characters to the game.
I never tried the, I guess, would it be the mage character or the healer class? Like, I never tried what that was. The guy with the staff, I think it was.
Yeah, there's a
I never tried that.
You ever try the ice glove? You ever try to do the gloves?
No,
yeah,
no, I didn't try that.
There's a lot of cool weapons, a lot of cool stuff.
Sword, axes, sword and shield. I did like the two-handed guy. He looked like the Final Fantasy character with the giant sword on his back type of deal. The huge great sword. I thought the mechanics in the data into the moment by moment in the game was interesting. Like, for instance, there's a little section for the mid game in the teens where you're on this beach and they have like this quest that starts up, but you can activate a boat and the boat would come across.
I never saw this. You were telling me this and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like the boat would come across the bay, and then dock, and then a bunch of guys would come out of the boat, and then you'd have to fight them.
That's cool.
And then when you fought them, and if you don't shoot the cannon at the boat, they would keep respawning. So somebody had to fall back and like light the cannon, and then it would blow the boat up. And like you would hear the boat blow up. If you were anywhere near the area, you like hear this explosion. You had no idea what the hell was going on, but it was the boat blowing up. I didn't like the quest where you build a camp, but the camp stays there forever. Like there's just camps everywhere. Like I'm walking around and like there's just campfires and sleeping bags.
I thought this was so stupid.
What is that?
So there's a part of a tutorial to teach you how to make a camp for your so before you go somewhere, you set a camp up. I was like, why do they do this? There was literally like 200, 250 beds just everywhere. And it's like, all right, your mission is to put a bed down. And you're like,
well, why doesn't somebody else's
you're
bed
like, why is there 200 beds? I can't put it. So you have to go so far out to try to find a spot. And it takes so long for them to despawn, if they despawn at all. I don't even know, right? I was like, in the tutorial, teach someone how to build a bed and then also teach someone how to destroy the bed. That way you don't have just 250 beds in just one area like a fucking graveyard.
Yeah, but depending on what you're talking about for a game like this, you want it to be casual, right? Do I need to make a camp? Shouldn't every area worth going to have a little
automatic, automatic like save,
that's where you respawn.
I
type
agree.
Of thing. Like what is the whole idea of have to build a camp?
Just like you complained earlier about the ammo, right? That's basically the same thing.
I complained about ammo.
No, but what I'm saying,
I know what's going to happen when the game actually starts on console.
So they give you a camp because they want to be like realistic. It's like, oh, you would set up camp outside of the thing that you're doing. So that way, if you die, you don't end up all the way back at the 100%, town, right?
100%.
You're saying just make it automatic. Like if I go to this area, just make me start there at the beginning of the dungeon.
Touch the camp outside the dungeon, and when I die, I go to that campsite.
Yeah, I'm okay with the camp mechanic. It's just teach people how to destroy the camp when they're gone, because there's just a graveyard of it's just a graveyard of camps everywhere. Yeah.
The other thing I thought was interesting is like in the old style of MMOs, like you have like the creatures wandering and they're doing that little this thing. Like you can see them in the distance. Everyone's just kind of hanging out in like one little spot, and then if you aggroed them.
They all come.
Now you could train people, but like in this game, it's more. There's less of them, but they're more realistic. Like they're wandering around by themselves. They're not just staying in a little circle going from it. They're not doing the Roomba, right?
Right.
Basically, the old style enemies in an MMO, they'll just Roomba. They just kind of
Yeah.
bounce off
They
stuff.
bounce off the wall and then move
They kind
around.
of just stay in the same area. But this game, it's a little bit more realistic, where like animals would go out. What I would like to see, hopefully, that it's in the game that even though there's areas where something would spawn, like you can find out where they spawn because they spawn pretty much in the same area. But like if it was like maybe I don't know, a chicken or a sheep or a wolf, like sometimes there's a spawn where there's a pack and there's a pack that runs around. So like there's an easy area to fight wolves, and then be careful, there might be a pack of wolves. You know what I mean? Like something else.
Oh, like
to,
a little bit of
break
harder.
up,
Like I see what you're saying.
right? So like there's a skeleton walking around, but maybe all of a sudden there's like a skeleton leader and he's got 5 guys walking around.
Well, I believe there
and,
are
and
people.
they wander.
I believe there are people like that. If
I
I remember correctly, when I played before years ago, I believe there are like harder guys with like guards around them. You'll have one guy walking with 2 guards behind him and stuff like that. If I remember correctly,
that's well, because that's what it seems like they were leaning towards. I now maybe it was me, but I'm very thorough when I go to a zone and I start picking up quests. Right,
picking up quests,
So
and also
I
picking
go-
up the blue papers everywhere.
right? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So I'm wandering around. I go to the town and I find the main guy I got to talk to. And then what I normally do is I'll wander around looking for other side quests. Now, I noticed on the map that it'd be like a little key would appear. And that's like where a side quest was. But what I started to notice was when I picked up those quests, like even when I did them, like another one wouldn't show up until I was like far away doing something else. And then when they come back, one would appear like further away, but out. Like when did that one appear? Like
Right. It's to nudge you into the next zone.
if they're gonna do stuff like that, then just segue the story that one leads to this. Like, and then there's a satellite around that, and then there's a satellite around this, right? Now, the little blue pieces of paper, cool, something to find. But when I started going through it, I'm noticing there's 14 different types
In that area.
of things
In that area.
with like 10 or 12 for each one. And I'm like, if you're going to do this, right, at least make the things different color so I know it's for a different story, so I know what the hell I'm looking at. Because otherwise, I'm not clicking on a thing and then standing in the middle of a battle zone reading a blue book, and I know it's 10 out of 20, and I'm going to start reading that thing, and then I just start getting attacked because I'm in a battle zone. Like, it put them someplace where I can actually immerse myself, read the story about the zone I'm in. If you want me to hang out in the zone and do that kind of thing, like that makes more sense to me if you want me to enjoy the story.
My biggest problem with the blue papers is that when you pick one up, you read it, and then it's still blue when you, right?
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. So when you walk up to it, it says
you stop smoking.
It just says already read. And I'm like, just make it just dead. Like it doesn't glow anymore. It doesn't do anything. I can't interact with it anymore.
No, they don't want to do that. I don't understand why they don't want to do that. Because if you're friends with you, you say, "Hey, I know where all the blue things are in this area. Come follow me and pick them up."
Sure.
Like I remember the reasons why to do that, because you don't waste your friends' time. You want to get if they're into the story, you tell them where the shit is. But once again, some of the blue things are in line with the story, right? Like if I'm following a
go help Farmer Joe in his farm.
As long as I explore the farm where the quest is, I should find more of the story going on. That makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate that. Right now, what I found a little strange is the quest of where they send you. Like, one didn't mean it's the quest up first of the story. It just happened to be the first one I had picked up.
Correct.
It wasn't divided into
you could rearrange those
quest and second.
you can rearrange those, so you can make one into 5 and 5 into 1. Yeah.
Like I had I think 6 is the max you can have on the screen on the right hand side before. Now I don't know what happens if you got above 6 because I start knocking them out before then.
I think you can get more than 6. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I did like finding like a little mini boss hiding in a cave or someplace.
The exploration in this game is very good.
And then I kind of hung out there on purpose and try to get a drop from the actual boss. Now, another thing I noticed, because I was so thorough with the questing, is in the old style of MMO, I'm just making an example. Let's say the main quest sends me to a beach area, right? So I'm going to a beach area. Now, when I'm in the beach area, I pick up 3 or 4 quests. The main quest says to go here. But I didn't do the side quest yet. When I finish the main quest of the area, normally old school MMO, it would give you like a cool chess piece or a cool weapon, right? Now, if I did the other quests in the area, not because I wanted to, just because they happen to be there, like there are mini quests that are around there. If I do those, then they should drop the matching set of the gear of the main quest. I don't like looking like a piecemeal junkyard dog when I'm running around.
Well, this is where the monetization comes in.
So if I go to the beach and I do all the quests, I should find the gear that makes me all look the same, and then I go on to the next area. That's like the old school.
Well, this is why the monetization comes in. The monetization in this game is transmog. So transmog and stuff in this game is what they're selling you. If you want to look cool, you would pick up all these pieces of gear for the different armor and of different abilities they have, but then you would pay for transmog only for the stuff that you found, though, right? So, or purchase from the store. There's going to be a store where you can purchase certain transmog stuff, but if you go to the list, there was a woman with like 2 circles above her head, right? It was a big circle with 2 smaller circles inside. You could walk up to her, and there was a transmog, and you had these coins that they gave for free, or you could find them in the world, right? You could find them in the world, but if you wanted more of them, you have to go purchase them in the actual store, okay? The transmog, if you found cool gear within the world and you like that specific style, then you found it. There's a huge list. I mean, huge list. Sort of like ESO does. Remember ESO, if you find the gear, then you can go do the transmog?
That list is ridiculous.
This is worse than that. This list is worse than that. It just keeps going and going. So there's ones that you could buy in the shop, and there's ones that you can get in the world. And if you like that, then you can transmog. So that's how they're selling, right? What I like about this, at least on PC, it was $40 to pay this game. There was no monthly fee to continue. It was just $40. Play the MMO, play 10 hours, play 100 hours, play 1,000 hours. Now it's coming on console. It's $60, but that's with all the DLCs. It's all the stuff with the higher tiers, with all the new stuff. But there's also going to be the cosmetic transmog stuff in there for make more money, right? And I think this is a bigger test for Amazon because they're doing the Lord of the Rings. They had this one. They had Blue Protocol, I think. They had Lost Ark. This particular one, they saw how well it did in the very beginning. They learned their lessons from what was wrong or good or bad from New World. And now they're moving it over to console, which I think I've been saying this for quite some time about World of Warcraft. I think will come to console at some point. But I think
it's very hard to go to console, man. There's so many add-ons that you need to have for World of Warcraft for you to function.
Well, that's you're thinking about the people on the PC level. We're trying to casualify. They're trying to casualify the MMOs, right? So now I think if this works out, then Amazon comes out with Lord of the Rings and they put it on all platforms at the exact same time, PC and console. Boom. Right? If this doesn't work out and people come back and play this, but then it dies off again, I think they're done supporting this game.
But the way they portray it is a game where I buy it, go through the story as an MMO, and then stop playing it because it's a one-time fee to play the game and that's it.
Correct.
Right? So I think Amazon's I think play style there is make a game, sell a game, but just have the microtransactions in it to milk whoever stays in.
Wants to apply, right?
And then they go on to the next game. That's fine. They've already paid for the game.
But this is why they're playing. This is why they're playing the game though with MMOs. They have so many MMOs because they're trying to hold your time. Right? That's the most valuable thing for these companies that people don't talk about. Right? It's get the money.
It is the time.
But it's the time. If you can stop someone else from playing a different game and they can stay in your world. Right. Well,
you have a better chance
if they have Lost Ark and they have New World and they have the Lord of the Rings games, and they just keep coming out with different MMOs. That's more people that are playing their games and staying longer in their games. Right. Sort of like YouTube. Right. Like you want people to watch your content, but you also want them to watch it longer. So longer content keeps people's attention longer than the 3-minute video or 5-minute video.
One of the other things I missed up, I forgot to speak about was. I like the ability that it looks like you can't get to a specific point, but as long as you keep trying, the game allows you.
Oh, climbing up the rocks and grabbing and pulling yourself up. Yeah.
Right. The game didn't put a lot of invisible walls or things in the way that makes me aggravated that I can't get to a specific location. If I'm patient enough and try to work my way through the world, it allows it. I
Right.
thought that was also a good bonus.
Salty says, well, they went from almost 1 million players. Now it's down to 5K. So it's a massive drop. No wonder it's coming to console. But you got to remember, it's 3 years, and there was no monthly fee. It was a $40 game. It was a $40 game when it came out. It made its money, right? It made its money, and it made money again with the expansion, and made its money again with this expansion. Now they're bringing it to more platforms. So it's not like it wasn't successful. Okay, 1 million players concurrently means they sold like 5-6 million copies of that to get concurrent million people. You know what I mean? So I think the business model worked for them, and now they're just testing out the water. Well, okay, well, let's see how many people are interested on console that didn't play on PC, and that's why when Lord of the Rings comes out.
But I'm going through it in my head. A casual MMO that doesn't need a lot of time in. You can get people to come in with one price.
You can play solo. You can play with a group.
Right. I see where they're trying to go with it. I see what they're trying to do.
Well, here's my question, Sergeant, before, and then we'll go to the stories, because it's about an hour now. Are you interested in this game? Would you pick this game up? Or
I would say yes, but I don't have the hole anymore for MMOs.
Okay, would you recommend this for someone that's looking to look at this game as an MMO?
Someone's casual over the MMO. I would probably try it. I like it. I like the way it looks.
So you would pay You would pay the $60 for this game?
I don't know if I would pay 60.
Yeah,
I probably would wait for a sale.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But like I said, if there's people that want to play in my community, and if you decided to buy it, I would buy it again.
I would look at it like this. Normally, if you play an MMO, it's like $10 a month.
Right.
So will you play the game for 6 months? If you play the game, for 6 months,
I don't even look at it that. If I put $60 in this game, am I gonna get 60 hours out of it? 1,000%.
Oh, if you're doing the $1 an hour thing, then yeah, it's an MMO, man.
Yeah, I would definitely get my money's worth for it. Right. So, so there you go, chat. That's our thoughts on New World. Let's get to the top stories. See, my problem, Eclipse, is if I'm going to pay on PC, I got to purchase $60 anyway. You see what I'm saying? And if I got to pay the $60 to get all the content for PC, then I'm going to pay $60 for console. Do you know what I mean? Because not only do I get it for console then, but then my son can play if he wants to play as well, because we can play off the same account off of his S and my X.
I go back and forth. Like I really like ESO. Like I like Elder Scrolls. I think what it is that when you're in an MMO, you have to be paying attention to all the variables on how to get the gear that you're looking to get. You have to be invested. I'm not saying to be lazy, but you have to be invested. And if I don't have the time to commit to it, and it's a long gap and I have to go back, like I don't remember the tree to follow, like all the branches I need to go to do what it is I'm looking to do. And once that is broken for me, it's almost kind of like, I don't know if I want to spend the time to get back into it. I'll just go play something else. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like the reason why I played Skyrim so much is because you can get lost in that game and there's no worries about you getting lost. Because if you couldn't find the weapon, you just made the weapon, right? But if you want to make a weapon in ESO, you got to have like a list of ingredients, a list of all this stuff. You got to be at the right level. The skill has to be high enough. Like there's this whole thing, like for just one moment, I went, oh yeah, I need to get this armor and I want to put this thing on it. And then I went through the process of just trying to do those two things. And I was like, this is going to take 3 days. Like this, what I just said to do is going to take 3 days. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't care. I would rather just play something else.
Jay Breezy says ESO isn't good. Don't listen to the people in chat. Jay Breezy. ESO.
You're talking about
Elder Scrolls Online.
Skyrim or Elder Scrolls Online?
Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online is a really
good game.
It's a really good game. If you like Skyrim, and you like the story and the worlds of that, it's a huge fucking game. Huge game. Okay, if you like that, play it. People are upset about ESO because they want Elder Scrolls 6, and because ESO is so popular and so well received that they won't make Elder Scrolls 6 right away because it's still making money.
But that's what I said, right? I really do enjoy ESO. I have 4 characters. When I was into it hardcore and I had the clan and I was part of a PvP group and I played weekly, it was one thing. But when, like I said, when you fall out of it, it's hard to get back into it because, like I'm thinking about the armor set, the resist. I'm thinking about like almost the same levels like World of Warcraft stuff, where you're going through your whole armor list and thinking about where I'm gonna go fight, what bosses I have to go kill, like what do I need? Like that's what I'm thinking about the whole time. But once I fell out of it, I lose the whole train of thought of what I'm doing in the game. Right. And so, like, you could go to a different zone, start fresh. Like, that's the worst thing to do, right? Like, I started a zone and then didn't finish the zone. And then there was a gap. And when I came back, forget about it, man. I don't even know where I don't even remember where was I supposed to go in the zone to remember what I was supposed to do, right? Now, for shits and giggles, like, you got nothing else to do. You follow, you go to Aquila, I forget what the desert area, and you just follow the pile. You just
follow the murder,
the pile of people,
the death mob. Yeah, the murder squad.
The death mob going after the openings, and just level up your companion. That's kind of cool if you need to try to level up your companion.
Dupless, it has nothing to do with the separate team making it. It has everything to do with the business, right? Again, people don't look at this way. Okay, people want your time. And if you're playing ESO and they make Elder Scrolls 6, the people that are playing Elder Scrolls Online, we're going to leave online so they can go play Elder Scrolls 6. And if Elder Scrolls 6 is a single-player game, sure, they're gonna monetize some stuff in there probably and whatnot, do what they do, what Bethesda does. But they want people to play on the online because they get a monthly fee for the extra backpack and the DLCs and all the stuff. It has nothing to do with a completely different team. It has everything to do with if we make a separate game, it's going to split the player base because people that are waiting for this game to come, they're going to leave this game and go over to this game. Okay, and sure, they'll make the one-time fee of that game, but they still want people to play because MMOs live or die with the amount of people playing the game. Okay, and if there's no one playing an MMO, then it's dead. Okay, dead, not dead like to us. Like it doesn't matter for them. Like we're under a certain amount, not enough people are spending money. It's not worth supporting anymore. Okay, and Krebsy, I agree 100%. That's why I said if the combat was the same as New World, ESO would be a much better game. And you're absolutely right. It's dated. It's a dated combat system. It's 11 years old. It's ESO, Elder Scrolls Online.
It's all about percentages and hit chances.
Well, it's just the animations and the way you hit and the combat when you have to have your cursor. If you want to do head damage, you got to move it to the head. You know what I mean? Like it feels very stiff when you're swinging and stuff like that, right? But it's still a great game. It's still a fantastic game.
Well, but for PvP to be fair, you can't have a lock on. Right, you got to be able to hit when you hit. You're trying to hit somebody, not this auto lock on shit.
Right. All right, let's go with this first story. The first story is Nintendo and Pokemon Company officially suing Palworld developer over multiple patent infringements. Okay, so this is updated from IGN. It says update: Palworld developer Pocket Pair has responded to Nintendo and Pokemon Company's lawsuit. Okay. It says original story. It's official. Nintendo and Pokemon Company are taking legal action against Palworld's developer Pocket Pair. The companies filed a lawsuit against the developer today on September 18th, seeking injunction against the infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developer and released by the defendant, infringes on multiple patent rights. Okay, now I just want to put it up this way, Sarge. This morning on my stream, okay, I said I didn't want to talk about this until more story came out, right? And I said on the morning stream, I said it's a little scummy if it comes out that Nintendo filed this patent so they could sue stuff, right? So they could make the case against Pocket Pair because they knew Pocket Pair was making this game, right? They knew this game was in development.
It seems scummy because they waited to see if it was going to do well or not.
But then that's exactly right. So when the game came out originally, I said they're not going to sue because they're going to wait to see. Why would you sue when they haven't made money yet? They're going to wait and see if it made a shit ton of money, and it did. It made a shit ton of money, so much so that the developer of Pocket Pair, the CEO, came out and said, "We've made so much money, we don't know what to do with it. We're kind of scared to have this much money." Okay,
and Nintendo said, "Great, we're going to."
Nintendo's like,
"We're going to get some of your money."
like Jabba, right? They're like Jabba the Hutt. They're like, ho 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 ho, right? Wookie, right?
I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused on why they think this lawsuit's going to work out for them. If you thought it was a copyright infringement thing, you should have did it as soon as they announced it.
Well,
as soon as the game launched. Why would you wait?
Well, so it says Nintendo will continue to take...
You waiting means you were just trying to go for the money anyway. That's what that means.
Nintendo says it will continue to take necessary actions against infringement of the intellectual property rights, including Nintendo's brand itself. Now, to protect the intellectual properties, it has worked as hard to establish over the years, Nintendo's statement reads. Now, the filings... absolutely a massive news follows the months in speculation that Nintendo would take legal action of the indie survival game that's also been referred to as Pokemon with Guns. Now, Nintendo previously released a statement about Palworld in January, vowing to investigate and take appropriate measures against the potential infringing content. Now, a modder also claimed that Nintendo has come for me after posting a clip of Pokemon Ash. Well, that's fine. If they want to go for a lawsuit because someone made a mod of a character they own, they have every right to do that. Okay,
sure,
but
infringing
on throwing a ball at a character in a world, like if they win this is going to set a precedence, because then can Call of Duty or someone can Microsoft or someone else have a patent where you're shooting down the sights of a gun with the reticle?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, where is this going?
That's why Nintendo's being petty.
Yeah. So it says, but 6 months later in June, Pocket Pair, instead of Nintendo, had yet to make it a compliant of a response. Pokemon ripoff claims. Now, Nintendo and Pokemon Company didn't say anything to us. Pocket Pair boss told GameFile at the time, "Of course, I love Pokemon. I respect it. I grew up with it. It's my generation." He says Palworld launched in early access in January 2024 on PC and Steam, and the Xbox is day one Game Pass. And the title capulated and sold millions and millions of copies.
They're just mad that theirs did better than theirs. That's all that is.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see.
You can't patent the look of the way the game plays. Everybody's been copying everybody.
Right.
But they put their own spin on it. Palworld did the same thing. They made their own version of that type of game, and they sold it. How is that copyright infringement? Did they copy actual Pokemon characters? You mean the characters that people just made up?
Well, if Pokemon is going to sue Pocket Pair for Palworld, then Dragon Quest has to sue Pokemon because they 100% copied Dragon Quest to Pokemon to right. And we've been down this road. And if they do this, look, everyone's really excited about the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out. People love Nintendo, but obviously the normal people don't even know this is going on. Okay, they're going to eat up Nintendo regardless of what. But this looks bad. This looks petty on Nintendo. Like, let the small independent company. They made a game. They made it fun. It's a thing. Sure, they copied you because of whatever, but it's not a one-to-one comparison of what it is.
It's not copying.
Yeah.
Just doing the same type of game is not copying. That's what the trend is. People do what they do to make a game similar to that one.
Yeah.
That's all they did.
And I knew Nintendo was going to do this.
On the box.
Yeah, I knew Nintendo was going to do this because they just sat back and said, "Yeah, we won't sue. We'll sue once they make a shit ton of money, because then we know they have the money, right?" And if anything,
you're going to just drag them out in court and just make them waste money.
Waste money, yeah. And then if they're doing this, then they can't. They basically have to stop working, because if it is.
That's correct. So if they're in the middle of in the second game right now, they have to stop production.
Not even that. It's still in early access, right? So not even done with the game yet. So they might have to just stop making the game if Nintendo pushes through with this, and then they're done. Yeah, it's
fucking petty.
It's a stupid move by Nintendo, but hey,
no, that's a normal move for Nintendo. Not a stupid move. That's a normal move for crazy Uncle Nintendo. That's what they do.
Well, speaking of Nintendo, we have another story about Nintendo. So there's leaks out there about leaks of the Nintendo Switch, or the next Nintendo Switch, which is, we're calling it Nintendo Switch 2, but I don't think it's actually what it's called. Okay, it says, rumor, unconfirmed images of Nintendo Switch 2 have popped up online. Alleged specs, handheld right above the PlayStation 4 before the DLSS. Dock between the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox S series before the DLSS with more modern hardware than former. Okay, so it's somewhere between, it's last gen. Okay, not as powerful, but it's in there between the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Series S. Okay, so it's somewhere between the lowest tier of Xbox and the higher tier of the PlayStation. Okay, it says the RAM is slower than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S in the speed department, but also capacity of the XSS okay, should have 10.5 or 11 gigs of RAM available of the games, going to Switch 1's RAM element of its OS. It says storage of the UFS 3.1's max speed should be a hair under the Xbox Series X/S at 2.1 gigabytes versus the 2.4 gigs. Still plenty of fast, even not the max out lines up with the Digital Foundry. It says not only is the Switch 2 ARM based rather than x86 like the systems compared, it's also NVIDIA versus AMD. There's also plenty of factors at play here. To also not it's not an apples to apples comparison. Plus, the native tenor cores of the Switch 2 will allow the DLSS, letting the system punch above its weight class. Okay, you can see a little bit of it. They had some other pictures. I don't have them here, but the screen's bigger than the original Switch. Okay, the controllers themselves potentially have like they slide in instead of the lock mechanism that they have on the Switch that they have now. It's magnets, and it has a little bit of a piece. I don't know. Let me see if they show a little bit of it here.
Does it still go into the big docks? It can be on the big screen.
Yeah. So okay. So you can see the control here. These little pieces right here, not these. These are the bumpers, the little buttons on top. But there's like a spot right here and a spot like right here, and then right here in the middle there's like a little plug, right? So it'll click in with a magnet, but it also, this part like slides in and then it docks in with a little plug, so it gives it a little bit of stability to attach the controllers. Okay, supposedly anyway. And you can see that the difference between the Switch, you can see that this is a slide-in one for the old Switch, the current Switch, and then this one's an insert. Think of like a cartridge that you shove into the gaming console. That's how you would put the Joy-Cons inside of the Switch screen. So you can see the difference in screen size, if this is true. The bigger screen compared to the smaller screen of the Nintendo. So, I don't know.
So what's the new one? The top one?
Top one. Yeah, the top one
Okay.
would be the new screen. This is the old screen. This is the new controller that slides into that section over there. And then this is what the back looks like. This is, I guess, this whole section here is the kickstand, right? So that little pop out like a little trunk. You know what I mean? So you can set it down on the table so you can play it. And then it's got an extra button right here. There's these buttons up on the top here. So there's two buttons. There's the bumpers up on top, and then there's the little buttons on the side. But I think all this is to unlock or lock the controllers from your controller. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a third. It might be a third thing, and it might just pull them out. But if it's a magnet that pulls out, then I have a feeling you have to hold the Switch, then pull one controller, then hold the Switch, and then pull the other controller. Because if you're holding it in your hand, it's got to feel snug. Otherwise, I'm afraid you pull the controllers out, the fucking screen falls, then it breaks. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So looks pretty cool. I was talking about this earlier this week, Sarge.
But this is not an official thing. This is a leak, right?
Well, it's almost official. Like, this is what they said. A lot of people are talking about the same thing, different sources and stuff. It's not official yet, though. It's not official from Nintendo. They say maybe this month they might announce it, and it might come out sometime in March next year. If I talked about this, I want to hear what you have to say, Sarge. If Nintendo doesn't do the graphic intensity of the current gen that we have today for Xbox Series S, X, and PlayStation 5, now PlayStation 5 Pro, and now they just catch up a little bit to where the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One was, or Series S, whatever. Is that a huge jump for Nintendo? And do you think this would do more successful than the Switch itself? Because Switch right now it's in striking distance of becoming the best-selling console of all time, beating the PlayStation 2.
I don't think Nintendo has to worry about trying to beat Xbox or PlayStation. All Nintendo has to do is beat itself. If it's better than the older unit, then it's fine. Nobody has ever tried to compare graphic fidelity with a Switch to anybody else. They're just happy to have the Switch because they like the games that are on there, right? And let's be clear about this. And the reason why that is because Nintendo never set a bar for that. Microsoft and Sony constantly yammering in our ears, this is what it's going to do, this is the graphics, this is the speed, over and over, best graphics, best this, over and over. And then when they come out with it and it doesn't have it, everybody bitches. Because that's all you've been telling us. Nintendo doesn't do that. Nintendo doesn't say shit about, oh, gonna have the best graphics, we're coming out of the system, bigger screens, better controllers, right? And you just fall right in line. Oh yeah, cool, better games, bigger screen. Yep, we're good. We're good. Because they didn't set the bar that way, right? Nobody's bitching about Nintendo not having the same graphics as an X. Nobody. Right? We're still waiting for the X to do what the X is supposed to do.
Real quick, Dark Taco says the magnetic rail leaks were true, so that's the controller's supposedly official. And he says, and the charger on the top of the system is so you can kickstand and charge at the same time. That would be awful, though, right? Like you have it on your table, but now the cable's shooting out the top of the on the top of the thing, and then it all depends on where it was. That means it'll pull back on the actual device itself. So do they sell a cable that's got like a little like a right angle so you can like charge it and then it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like that seems a little, it's a stupid decision. Does that mean there's no docking station either, or do you put it upside down and lock it in?
Yeah, but you won't know that until actually someone's got it in their hands and you see how the functionality of it. Like you won't know that until it happens.
Better than not charging it at all. Yeah, but it's a traveling device. Okay. Everyone that owns a Switch, how often are you playing? You're in front of a television set. Are you playing it like this? No, you're not. You're plugging into the docking station and playing on the television set. The only way you're doing this is if you're literally traveling. Okay, and for traveling, you're usually not traveling across the world. And if you are traveling across the world, you have a USB and you can plug it in and you can play it and charge it at the same time, right? I don't see a world where you're like, oh my god, I gotta charge this thing at all the time, right? The cable has a right angle. Well, there you go. See,
my first question immediately is: you got a bigger screen? Is there a bigger battery, or is it a better battery? That's my first question. Because you guys are talking about a travel size unit. So if it's not plugged into the base and I'm running around with it, what's my hours?
It should be 2 to 3 hours. I would hope.
You think today, by today's standards, 3 hours is all you're going to get gaming on a Switch?
I think that's all you would need. But 2 to 3 hours before you can get to a place to charge it. Think about it. You could charge it on a train. You could charge it on a plane. You could charge it in a box with a Fox, with the green eggs and ham, right? Like, there's a charger everywhere you go. There's nowhere you're going. You could charge it in an outlet of the car. You could charge it on a train, charge it in a plane.
You're in the old days, I'm not sure what it is now, but in the old days, you're supposed to let a battery go down, not all the way to zero.
But what I'm saying,
you're supposed to let a battery go down.
In what situation where you're traveling that you're not going to have an outlet somewhere? Like, where are you going?
I'm just saying longevity of a battery life for gaming was an actual topic. How long can I play this thing without charging?
I would say with the graphics and the intensity that they're doing now, I would say 3 hours at full brightness or whatever else it is. I would say that would get you far enough.
I think that's a little short.
I'm
not
agree.
saying it's true or false. I'm just saying if that's it, a little short.
But I don't think you're going to be far enough away where you're not going to be near something that charges. If you have a battery backup pack, if you're next to a car.
Oh, you know, they're selling peripherals.
Oh, of course they are, and that's why they would make the problem, sell the solution. The problem would be the battery life dies too fast. Well, we have a Nintendo battery pack for you, or we have an extended pack for you, or we have a longer cable for you, or we have whatever it is. Right? We have a carrying case with a battery that charges inside of it. Like they'll do anything and everything so they can sell you the solution for the problem for the actual thing. Okay, so let's go from that to Destiny Mobile, right? Battery life is 30 minutes. There you go. Right? So the next story I want to talk about is Destiny Rising. New heroes, PvP, story missions, strikes with minimum Bungie involvement. All right. So NetEase. Okay, NetEase.
Why is that a selling point?
Right?
Minimum Bungie involvement.
Yeah, that's
is that supposed to make me feel better?
Yeah. So Destiny Rising is a mobile game set in the Destiny universe, features new heroes, story missions, strikes, and PvP. Sources reveal that minimal Bungie involvement. Right? That's a selling point now. They're like,
it sounds like it's
Bungie has nothing to do with this. They're like, oh, well, then maybe I'll buy it. Right? It's a free to play game. Okay, first off. It's going to be on mobile device, okay? Well, at least I think it's free to play.
It doesn't sound well at all, though.
Okay.
Why is that in there?
So rumors about Destiny's mobile game titled Destiny Rising is also codenamed Viper have also been circulating for a while, and recent insider information has shed light on its upcoming mobile game. let me go down here. It says, earlier this month, giant bomb Jeff Grubb revealed that Destiny Rising is being primarily developed by NetEase, and with not a lot of people from Bungie working on it. Now, while Bungie's role now significantly reduced, it appears it wasn't always that case. At the start of Destiny Rising development, Bungie was heavily involved in it to the point where they also sought renegotiation of the contract with NetEase to establish a co-development partnership. According to one source familiar with the project, however, it was negotiated to fell through, and Bungie reduced its role, scaling back the involvement significantly. So as recently as Bungie's contribution has largely limited to providing a narrative and supporting efforts, offering a visual assets such as character models and references with the other 5 to 6 staff members working on the project. Okay. Sources also tell Destiny Rising is a third-person shooter, has a variety of gameplay modes, and also should feel familiar to the longtime Destiny fans. And the core gameplay includes elements like PvP strikes and story missions, and the gunplay closely mirrors that of Destiny 2, capturing much of the same look and feel. It says, additionally, they've also heard a separate source that a new raid was in the works, though it's unclear if it's still on track, and release the information a bit later. So they're talking about heroes and stuff, Sarge. So here it says, one major gameplay change in Destiny Rising is the focus on hero characters according to multiple sources. Players will play as predefined heroes, some of whom will be new to the universe, and with others being recognizable figures and lore. I said this morning when I read this, I said that I think they're making this the mobile version of Destiny, but they're also making it like the First Descendant. And what I mean by the First Descendant is that you play the game, you unlock characters, right? I think this is the new form, right? Transformers Reactivate, I think, is the same way. Warframe's the same way, you unlock characters. First Descendant's the same way, you unlock characters. And Destiny, I think this sounds like that you'll play and unlock characters. So you potentially could play as Zavala, Ikora, because it's a prequel. Okay, it's a prequel, so they're all alive. They're all still there, right? Cade 6 could be there. You could play as Cade. You could play as Zavala. You could play as other characters, right? What do you think of this? The mobile, first of all, the mobile game, Bungie has very little to do with the actual game. NetEase is in charge of it. Good, bad, different. I know you're not going to play it because it's a mobile game, but
Absolutely not going to touch that game. I even installed Cactus, this 40K game, on my phone, and then it said to me, I got to sign up a whole account. I got to hook up some stuff, and I went, hook up an account, uninstall. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. I just wanted to play your game. If I have to sign up for an entire thing before I can play your game, I'm not doing it. Right? So Destiny, you think I'm actually going to put Destiny on my phone just to try out a Diablo style version just with Destiny characters? You're out of your mind, bro. Right? Here's my other question. So you think people who've been playing Destiny for 10 years are going to run right over and hop in and give Destiny more money for playing Destiny? You think that's what's going to happen?
You want my honest answer? The loyalists will. Yeah, the loyalists will go over there with no doubt.
So you're going to just throw some more money into a Destiny game just for the shits and giggles of it?
Yeah. Those people, they're defenders, man. Defenders to the death. It doesn't matter what Bungie did, right? Now, remember, Bungie's not even involved with this. There were 6 people that worked on it, right? They were trying to negotiate stuff to get back onto the development cycle to get credit for it. This is a NetEase game, right? Now, let's be honest. NetEase, obviously, they want to make as much money as possible with the microtransactions and whatnot. Everyone's thinking that maybe this would be like a Genshin Impact type of thing, right? But it could be good because Bungie's not involved, right? Some of the best content that Destiny ever had was by Vicarious Visions.
It's disturbing to me the amount of money that the gaming companies are making off of this half-ass bullshit mobile crap with just these cool features attached to it that make it supposed to like. People bitched about a price of a game, but you are willing to spend 7 times the amount of money you would spend on a game for whatever reason for your entertainment value. It disturbs me.
I have a story. Where's the story? It goes into what we're about to speak about here.
For the sake of my entertainment, I used to get entertainment for $50. Now my entertainment is $1,200, but it's such a quality entertainment.
Hold on. Where's the story?
The fact that they promoted it, that Bungie didn't touch it, I'm laughing hysterically on the inside. That's an actual selling point. That don't worry, Bungie didn't touch it. We still want your money though.
Well, this is the next story we're talking about. This is what all these companies are chasing, right? They're chasing this right here. Okay, they're chasing the Diablo 4 made over $1 billion so far, and 150 million of that is of exorbitant priced skins. Okay, that's what this is from. Okay,
Yep.
so we've always known that Diablo 4 is one of Blizzard's most successful games, but now we have some figures to attach those titles. Now,
Yep.
I laugh because if you're one of these people that is part of the console war thing here, and they're like, "Wow, Microsoft's going down. They're gonna cry, and they're gonna be gone, and they're not gonna be here anymore."
Well, fucking anywhere.
Yeah, these people don't know what they're talking about because they made $1 billion. Sure, they spent $70 billion. Okay, but that's just this is just $1 billion from this one game that they said wasn't successful. By the way, those people are like, "Oh, this game's not successful." Right?
Not successful.
Not successful. $1 billion.
Underperformed.
Yeah.
So when you say it made $1 billion, and in the same sentence you're saying it underperformed and it didn't sell well.
Right. So on microtransactions specifically, however, they all mounted more than 150 million, and the number, according to them, is since deleted posts, accounts mainly for all things virtual currency, including store bundles, general discounts, pricing, and even personalized discounts. It's hard to weigh in on how high the microtransactions revenue is based on in this number alone. Publishers rarely break down revenue by sources, but $150 million is still a massive chunk of money, representing 15% of the $1 billion overall revenue of Diablo 4 brought in. Now, Diablo 4's microtransactions have long been criticized by players for just how expensive they are, considering that the overhead perspective of the gameplay camera and perspective of the value of the cosmetic diminish, right? Because you're so far back from your character. When you buy a microtransaction, you gotta squint. You gotta like, oh yeah, that's so cool. You see that? You see how cool that is, right? So you can't even see it. It says Blizzard also caught flacking for selling bundles of simple color swashes, okay, and minor effects and a lot of money. That's particularly frustrating for considering the game does not award players for any paid currency through play. Even though battle passes, when purchased, are fully completed, doesn't offer enough platinum to buy the next one or really anything that's in the game store. Given all the success, it is fair to say experiment in turning Diablo 4 into Call of Duty has worked out well for Activision Blizzard, so you should only expect microtransactions train to continue. Yeah, if you keep buying them, they're gonna keep playing it, right? I mean, if you look, Sarge, for the low price of $100, you can get 11,500 coins to buy your skins in the shop.
Wow.
Right? So
wow.
I just think it's funny. I mean, this is what Sony's going for with Destiny. This is what they're going for with NetEase on the mobile device, right? This is why I believe they're also pushing it towards the Asian market because that's mobile devices are just running rampant over there. They use it for everything.
A lot more mobile. Yeah,
they use it for everything over there. So that's that for that story. The next one I want to talk about, Sarge, is pretty good. It has to do with Battlefield. Okay, so the next Battlefield.
Are we throwing hand grenades? What are we doing?
Oh yeah, sure. We used to have the song. I don't have the song on me anymore.
Oh, that's right. You don't have the Battlefield minute.
Yeah, I had the flames. I took it off. I got to put it back on because we're going to be talking more and more about this. As it goes.
You got to put it back on. You got to put that.
Oh, but before we get to the Battlefield news, we totally forgot to do this because Concord came out, right? We have a we have a Concord story. Hold on, I think this is official. Let's talk about this before we talk about Battlefield, right? So Concord Game Director reportedly steps down as Firewalk developers fear for layoffs or possible closure. Okay, but Concord, the game itself, it is dead, right? And I totally forgot to do this. This is a thing that we always used to do.
We haven't done this in a while.
We haven't done this in a very long time. I don't even have the phone number anymore. But I used to have Abe call in because something happened. But we'll just do this. This is for Concord.
It's my game, man.
So Concord has been Vigoda'd. Okay.
My prostate.
So Abe Vigoda has called in. It is dead. It's a dead game. Okay, so Concord is dead, and now Concord's game director reportedly steps down as Firewalk developers fear layoffs and possible closures. So 3 sources told the site that Ellis, the former director of Destiny 2, who left Bungie in 2016 and founded Firewalk in 2018, announced his step down last week, shortly after Sony took the game offline, in order to explore options. Where do you think he's going? Do you think he's going back to... Well, he wouldn't go back to Bungie because that's still under Sony. Why would he leave the company he's in to go back to the other company? So do you think he's going to start another game that's a shooter that takes 7 years to make?
I don't want to agree with Jay Breezy, but he might have a point. They might do something mobile.
Concord Mobile, remember I said this. All right, hold on a second.
He might be.
Let's mark this. I'm going to put this on the screen. Concord Mobile. Remember, I said this. All right, we're going to mark it with the big Book of Bull. It's official. It's been in the Book of Bull. Okay, so Jay Breezy is officially in the Book of Bull. So when it comes to fruition, we will come back to this episode that Jay Breezy locked it in. Okay, so
lock it down.
Right. So I don't know why the music didn't play for that. I got to check that why it didn't work. So Ryan deeply believes that the project is bringing players together through joining it. Former developer of Kotaku, regardless of there being things that could have been more done differently throughout the development. He's a good human and full of heart. So they're like, oh, we feel bad for him. He's off. He'll be a good. He'll land on his feet. Type of stuff.
Well, they only fail up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can have 4 games crash and burn, and you got promoted. So I don't know what it takes to be. Listen, I think the only people that get fired in these game companies are the guys that actually make the game. Everybody else gets to stay.
Oh,
everybody.
Argus, you make up a good point. The Pete segment is later. No, the Pete segment is now. We had a Destiny story. We didn't talk about it. God damn it. Thank you for keeping
one after the other.
Yeah, we're just throwing it here. You know what? Here it is. Let's check if Pete Parson is still at Bungie. Is Pete Parson still at Bungie? Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Is Pete Parson still at Bungie? Yes, he is. Does he buy more cars? What did he buy this week? He bought the Oscar Mayer Wiener banana car. Okay. So this week, Pete Parson has bought the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile.
Is that a sit and spin?
He bought the banana mobile, and he bought a sit and spin. That's what he bought. These are all wheels. They all have wheels on them. So.
That's right. It counts. Do
you guys know what a sit and spin is? Chat, do you guys know what a sit and spin is?
That's... Well, listen, a sit and spin as a kid, if you're a Generation X kid, is basically your first narcotic. So you would sit on it and turn the wheel like a teacup and just make yourself dizzy and then try to walk. So basically, that was like your first narcotic.
Because you just yeah.
It still counts as a wheel. So Parsons is buying it.
Yeah. Well, Eric Jones, he bought the big wheel last week. Last week he bought the Dukes of Hazzard big wheel. He bought the Herbie the Love Bug and no, I'm sorry, the mutton car at the bottom from Dumb and Dumber, and also the Mystery Machine from Scooby Doo.
Oh my god,
that's what he did.
That is priceless. The banana mobile is fantastic.
Chief says, bro, where is he storing all these cars? In his garage. He's got this massive garage. Maybe he's using the 280,000 square foot studio that they have, that they don't have enough employees to work in. Maybe he moved them into there.
You already got the DeLorean. Well, Wolverine, it's in there already.
The DeLorean's there.
Cars.
Come on.
Yeah, it's just buried. It's old news, Wolverine.
Yeah,
you already got
that was like weeks ago. The DeLorean is somewhere. Where's the DeLorean? The DeLorean, I think it's underneath over here somewhere. It's behind Knight Rider, I believe. It's there.
Like, it's old news, man.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Old.
He's moved on. He's moved on. New car. He doesn't care.
New car.
Yeah. I always forget. All right, so now we've talked about Concord. We've talked about Bungie. Let's go to our next favorite game.
Oh, believe us, it's there. It was like one of the first weeks. We're not messing with you.
Yeah. Here, you know what? I'll do you a favor. Let me see.
Move it up to the front.
No, I have. Let me see if I can find it. It was a couple weeks ago. I'll bring it up on stream. Is it this one? Let me see. No, it's still. He's had so many cars. Maybe you know what? Maybe I did put the DeLorean in there.
No, you did. It was like one of the first weeks. The Back to the Future car was definitely there.
Maybe it's this one. Let me see. No. There's so many. There's so many I've made. No, I never put the DeLorean. So we'll see if he buys it. We'll see if he buys it next week. Yeah,
what was in there?
The Halo Warthog. Yeah, we'll see what he buys.
So he's a very car aficionado. You never know what he's going to buy.
You never know what he's going to pick up. I mean, the sit and spin. That was a curveball there. All right, so Battlefield. The next Battlefield. Now, just couple days ago, it broke that what they were going to do, and they didn't know. They said it was going to take place in the modern day, Sarge, the modern day. And I said, stupid. I was like, the reason they're putting it in the modern day, I was like, there's not going to be a bad guy because obviously you can't name, right? It's okay to make the Germans the bad guys in World War II because we know they were the bad guys. It's okay to make Russia the bad guys in the old war games because we know they were the bad guys, right? We know Japan was the bad guys back in the day. When you make a game...
But now there's no bad guys.
Right. When you make a game in the present day, there is no such thing as bad guys. It's this unnamed organization...
You can just say terrorists.
Right.
That's all you have to say.
Right. So now...
That's all you have to say is terrorists.
So now in here, they have a unnamed source, unnamed, okay, and it's NATO versus a private army.
So how can you say NATO, but you can't say anything else? You're not allowed to say
NATO, you're just assuming that the people that are part of NATO is a group of people.
That's everybody else who's not a terrorist.
Oh, I know. Right. So
everybody else.
So exclusive new details on the next Battlefield game. Okay. So it says the game will also have. Well, first of all, it'll have it will aim currently for 45 different weapons on launch day. Okay, double that of what Battlefield 2042. Right? They're selling you, Sarge, on what was in the game back in the day compared to the game that they fucked up on at the last installment. Right? 2142. There's 45 different weapons that are going to be in this new game, which was way more, double the amount of what Battlefield 2042 had. Oh, you mean like Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, where you kept taking stuff away from us and then putting it back in like it's fucking Madden? You're like, oh, look at the vision cone, right? The cone of vision. Okay, so they're putting guns back in the game. Okay, they said Battlefield 2042's core multiplayer experience launched with it, in addition to the goal for around 10 multiplayer maps. Okay, putting in line with the likes of Battlefield 1, 3, and 4. Now, mind you, Battlefield 1 had 13 maps. Battlefield 3, I looked it up, had 9 maps, and Battlefield 4 had 10 maps. Okay, so we're talking about somewhere between 9, 10, and 13 maps for this new game. Okay, the game will also see significant overhaul of its destruction. Imagine they're putting destruction back in the game, Sarge. And while I couldn't verify this, it means that return of Levolution. They don't know if Levolution's coming back. But over half a dozen sources mentioned that the game would have caliber-based destruction, akin to Rainbow Six Siege, okay, with different calibers causing different amounts of destruction. It also is understood that the game will also come with changes of movement, with one example giving that the multiple sources the ability to pick up and move down players, which they said it was going to be in 1, said it was going to be in 5, said it was going to be in 2042. So now they really mean it, Sarge. It's going to be in this game. It's going to be in this game.
That's an unnecessary mechanic in this type of game.
Okay, so while this
dragging people around before you press a needle into them to get them off the ground is a completely unnecessary thing in this game.
But here's why they're putting it in, Sarge. There's going to be a free-to-play battle royale game. Okay, so now instead of going play Fortnite or playing Call of Duty or playing any other Battlefield or multiplayer game like that,
they're still trying this shit, huh?
Now it's Battlefield. Battle Royale yet again. Okay, yet again. So while there almost certainly have been incorporated for Battle Royale experience, it's been implied that this is all for changes that be a part of the team's Battlefield moments. They put it in Battlefield moments or Battlefieldness. Okay, so it's
Battlefieldness.
Battlefieldness.
Yeah. Does it have a campaign? Does it have a campaign?
They didn't say in here, but they did say in an interview that they wanted to do more story stuff inside the game itself, right?
Wanting to do more story stuff is not the same as campaign.
They have a whole universe, Sarge. They have a whole universe of stuff that they're going to do.
It's a complete universe that has no actual bad guy.
It's a
complete universe of things, just no bad guys in there.
Look,
I got it.
I understand that people like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, but they were still grounded in actual, like, enemies.
Modern military.
Right, like actual bad guys. I knew they were going to do this with private army, non-disclosed bad guys, and then
they can't say terrorist, huh?
No, because they can't say you're going up against Russia or Germany or Japan or Australia, whatever. They can't say
saying terrorist.
Yeah,
just a terrorist.
Yeah. So, I think this game is still confusing what the identity is.
You could call it the worldwide caliphate. That's all you have to say. That's it. We're fighting the worldwide caliphate, and we're done.
But
perfect.
I still think this game is losing its identity, right? Because they're cramming in a battle royale. They're trying to when they tell you they're trying to put the game back together to make the Battlefield moments, and they're jangling the keys in front of you. They're like, we got explosions, we've got the weapons that we took out, we have all. It's like, bro, it's like that meme with what's his name, hey fellow kids, Steve Buscemi, when he walks up into the high school and he's like 60 years old and he's pretending he's a high school kid. Like, he's trying to be cool. He's trying to tell you, no, I'm just like you guys. Yeah, it's Battlefield. Yay! But this is not Battlefield. They're trying so hard. This is sort of like what Todd Howard did, where this is a game of a generation, giving your own nickname, right? They're trying to tell you that this Battlefield is going to be those Battlefield moments. This Battlefield is going back to its roots. This Battlefield is going back.
A Battlefield moment was a moment that was done by an individual who was using the mechanics of the game to do something cool, not because you told me it's a Battlefield moment, right? You put good mechanics in the game that allowed people to try different crazy things, and that's what a Battlefield moment was.
Eric Jones, yes, and what we're saying is they can't do that now. They can't name a bad guy. It's got to be an undisclosed terrorist organization, right? Right? There's the good guys and the bad guys. See, the terrorist organization is going up against the good guys of NATO, but there is no individual bad guy. They can't name the bad guy, even though the bad guys for the private army is NATO.
Has been named forever. Yep.
This is the problem, right? Wolverine says, well, the NATO element will fell real the microtransactions, considering the tax dollars go to NATO and defend Ukraine. yeah, they'll use the microtransactions to fund Ukraine. That's what they'll do, right? Look, I love Battlefield, and I will talk shit about Battlefield until they make Battlefield again. Okay, the battle royale in Battlefield is not Battlefield. It's the opposite of Battlefield, because in Battlefield battle royale, it's small squads working separately from each other to win the match, not a team base. Now, Fortnite did this. Fortnite did a 50 versus 50 team battle match type of thing. Now, if that's what they're going to do, then just make it a fucking game mode. It's not really a battle royale then, is it? So, I don't know. I'm a little weary, Sarge, that obviously if it goes on EA Play, like the Battlefield 2042, okay, I'll give it the 10-hour trial. I'll give it a shot. Okay, I'll play the beta and tell you if it's good or bad, but I am not buying this game day one from empty promises that they've had for going on to almost a decade now. Okay, almost a decade. We're making these games and not doing Battlefield, doing everything but Battlefield to try to compete with Call of Duty, to try to compete with now Fortnite and whatever else. Breezy says, Sarge 30, when Battlefield 4 came out, or whatever the best one was, let's say Call of Duty Black Ops was out, which would you prefer to play? I will always prefer to play Battlefield over Call of Duty. I personally don't like the individuality of Call of Duty. When you play with a group of people, with your friends or whatever, Call of Duty fundamentally is all about, and I'm talking about the regular multiplayer mode, not the Warzone mode, right? It's about kill streaks. It's about individual marks, about I have a kill streak, I keep going my kill streak. It's all about my kill-death ratio. Battlefield's never been about that. Like, you look at it, I killed this many, I killed that many, but it's been about strategy, right? It's been about, all right,
what kind of crazy stuff can the team do,
right?
Or the squad can do,
right? It's about the group's moments of the time, where that's not what Call of Duty is. It's a completely separate mindset.
Like the ability to put explosives on a Jeep and try to drive it into a tank, and then for the guys who put mines in front of the tank to stop you driving the Jeep into the tank. Like, everybody was trying different things. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
even in Battlefield V, when it was World War II, when you played the rush missions where everyone's trying to rush onto a position, it's madness, right? It was still fun, right? You had like 5 Tiger tanks pushing against like a little British line of guns, getting slaughtered.
My biggest thing is, if the Battle Royale comes in and they make it like Call of Duty, we've talked about this week and in the past, if I'm going up against, I'm playing Battlefield, and all of a sudden I see Taylor Swift on the battlefield and going up against Cheech and Chong, going up against, Cyclops, and it's turned into that. That's not Battlefield. I also don't want to see, like they did in Battlefield 2042, where they added Santa Claus on the battlefield and stuff like that, right? That's not the Battlefield I want. I don't pay microtransactions, but I also don't want to play a game where all of a sudden I'm fighting the terrorists, and all of a sudden I see Nicki Minaj as on NATO, or I see Santa Claus on the private army terrorist organization. You know what I mean? That's not what I want personally. Okay, I get it. It makes money, it makes things, but it's not Battlefield, and they'll lose me, a person that's played every single Battlefield and given them thousands of dollars over the years, from Battlefield 1942 all the way up to, you know, Battlefield 5, because I didn't buy 2042. Like, they just not marketing to me anymore, right? The people that bought the game and played the game, they want to try to go outside to try to find more people to play the game, but they're going for a market that's not there for this particular genre of game, right? They would rather play Call of Duty.
I want to know if they're really doing this game on consoles, or if they're trying to do like a Warzone on mobile. That's what I'm afraid of.
I think they would. Well, they said they were on to do multiple different things, so they want to make a TV show and movies based off of the Battlefield series. I think they would start off the console, and then if it worked out well, then they would move it over to mobile, right? I would actually be okay with that if they wanted to make a game like this, and this is a mobile version, and people want to go play mobile and buy all the microtransactions and separate from the actual like Battlefield game itself. Then by all means do that, so I can have my Battlefield back. I'm being very selfish with this because I want my Battlefield back.
Yeah, but they're going to go down. They're going to go try to live service route. That's what they have to do.
Yeah.
EA wants to turn Battlefield into a Madden. We all know this. They just haven't found the formula yet. Right? That's all. It was supposed to be 2042 with all the specialists and the nonsense and the skins. It was supposed to be that, but they just completely dropped the ball. You know what? They didn't even drop the ball. They smashed the ball with a hammer.
Right. They ran over the ball with the tank. Wolverine says, people definitely care about kill-death ratio in Battlefield, but to your point, it takes a collective to win the match, where Call of Duty, one dude can pop. Yeah, no. The kill-death ratio is always a thing, right? Like, when you're playing a group and you look at the scoreboard, you're like, okay, cool, I'm at the top of the list, my kill-death ratio, my score, or whatnot. But that's not what Battlefield is. That's a secondary to your... Because if you have a good group, then you'll have the best opportunity to have more kill-death ratio, right? You'll have more opportunities to be on a good team to do that, where Call of Duty is a 100% solo type of thing. Over 25,000 still play at Battlefield 5? No.
Pretty good.
I mean, 25,000?
Yeah.
Is that on Steam alone?
Right. That sounds about right, though.
Is that right? Let me see.
Sounds about right. I've played a few matches here and there.
Battlefield 5, was it 5? Or V? All right. V Steam charts? Well, more people are playing that game, I believe, than 2042. Yeah, 24-hour peak was 25,000. 24, excuse me, just under 25,000. 24,964. 3,000 people playing now.
That would also make too much sense, right, Krebsy? Imagine where a Battlefield game was like everybo's on the same team fighting against Terminator robots, and all the hunter killers and things. That would be kind of cool, right? I think that would be a cool match.
What do you say? If this will be a EA with the Battlefield portal, anything is possible. This is why Season 1, the Terminator, will be coming to Battlefield. Well, if they do the portal, look, I said this before, Krebsy, and right, I think portal was the move instead of making Battlefield 2042, because portal would have taken everything from the past, and you can do mix match stuff and do different things. They could have added stuff, and that would have been fine. But they were doing that on top of this, which is on top of that, which is trying to make a battle royale, which is trying to, and I think they again lost their full identity. Speaking of EA, let's go to the next one, Sarge. EA expects to outpace market growth through to 2027. Investors were also told AI drives effectively expansion and transformation. Okay, a recent Investors Day event at EA shared that the long-term growth strategy, providing an in-depth look at the incentives driving the three strategic pillars, confirmed it was on track towards the high end of a net booking guidance for the second fiscal quarter ending in September 30th of 2024. It also stated that it believed that the AI driving effectiveness expansion of transforming to accelerate its business. Okay. It also announced that a new modern-day next-level Battlefield experience will also go out of for community testing in early 2025. It says, quote, "We're excited to unveil the in-depth look inside the growing scale scope of our RP portfolio as we accelerate engagement to the social connection in and around the biggest franchises," said Android Wilson. It says, also, he continues by saying, "We also are introducing a new experience and leveraging innovative technology to serve our global communities and attract new audiences as we continue to transform our business and shape the future of entertainment." He continues by saying, "We are also committed to growing the business and scale by expanding the operating margins through the disciplined approaches, capital allocations," and added the CFO said. He says, "Our strategy gives confidence and we significantly outpace the market growth through fiscal 2027. So they're making bank, right? And this is what they're trying to do. Just like Sarge said,
because
trying to make the Madden football Battlefield.
They got reoccurring money from Madden and FIFA. Right. And by the way, investors were told AI drives efficiency, expansion, and transformation. That statement alone tells me fire people. Because if I can do AI, if AI can make the game more efficient, then I don't need extra people. That's what that is.
Right.
Efficiency, expansion, and transformation. Those things you could do with people. But if you put the word AI in front of it, that means you don't need the people to do it. So if you don't need the people, that means you fire more people. You don't need them because you can
more
code
profit.
With AI.
Unlimited power.
That's what it is.
EA is the empire, right? They are they just keep eating up companies, destroying the companies, and then they make the companies.
But this is why it doesn't matter how many failures they have. Once you have reoccurring money coming in every month, you can set fire to your head. It doesn't matter. You're making that money. You've got the FIFA money coming in. You've got the Madden money coming in. You've got
right, and now they want that Battlefield money coming in, right? They would take a fraction of what Madden's doing with inside the Battlefield series.
If Madden and FIFA were not there and they made 2042, the studio would have shut down. The studio would have shut down, right? But you have all that money coming in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm pretty much guaranteeing that between FIFA and Madden is a couple $1 billion a year. They could do whatever they want. They can have guys making Battlefield games every other year like COD used to, if they wanted to. But they just haven't found the formula that gets people to play online Battlefield with a service. That's it. That's what they're looking for.
Argus says the reason that the player count is possible in Battlefield is because they all play completely different and have different time periods with different weapons and vehicles. People enjoy their favorite war. But that's in Battlefield 5. That's not Battlefield 2042. Portal's in 2042. So the people that are playing Battlefield 5 with those numbers are people that hated 2042 and just went back and played the older game, right? Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5 are having more player base than 2042.
Here's my question. Right? Once they had the guns down, like in Battlefield 3 and 4, like once you had the mechanics of those guns down, they felt good, they moved good, they fired well with the right attachments on them. Once you have that done well, how do you not just bring that over to the next game? How do you not bring over the code that says the MP5 does this, and this really well with the attachments, and we just bring the gun over and move the fuck on? Why is it every time we play the game, the guns always act differently all the time? Like the guns did really well in 3. Why do they act like dog shit in 2042? Like I never understood that. I never understood.
You got to make the
why
problem.
The gun is different all the time.
You got to make the problem, then fix it over time, or make it different. Be like, oh, the guns sucked then, but we brought them back. It's a Battlefield moment. That's what they do. They break the game on purpose so they can sell you back later. Because if they make the game too good, then they have nowhere to go. So they got to put stuff in.
Sure, you could.
And then they bring it back.
One mechanics, and you make different mechanics or different maps or whatever else for the next game. Why do you have to redo the stuff that you did well? Can we not just copy pasta the code that says this gun works well or these guns work really well? Let's move that the fuck over. Why? Why do we have to start from scratch every time? Oh, we got to redo 75 weapons all over again. Like why?
Yeah. Well, see,
you have the code.
You see, Nate says Madden College Football 2025. Do you understand that Madden, they couldn't change Madden anymore? They couldn't change Madden anymore. People are pissed off with Madden this year because all they did, they brought college football in, and college football is doing really well, obviously, because it was gone for like 10, 13 years, whatever it was. Okay, so now that college, like, yeah, we can put college back in. And the same people that bought Madden every year, now they buy college and Madden. And when they played college and they played Madden, they're like, well, there's missing features from Madden that's in college. So why is that? It's the same engine. It's the same stuff. They put less stuff in Madden than they did in college football. Right, so now they're just messing with people, and they don't care because they're still like, "It's football, right? It's football." All right, let's do speed round here real fast. I just want to announce these a little bit. All right, so Square Enix admits that Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Rebirth profits did not meet their expectations. So they made money, but it's under under what they thought it was going to make. Okay. The next thing is sales report is bad news for Astrobot. Okay. So the latest Japanese sales report paints it was troubling news for PlayStation, especially when it comes to recently Astrobot. Okay. So in Japan, it sold, where is it? It says it right here. However, it looks like Astrobot is falling short in Japan game sales, at least according to the latest report. The listing is also retail software sales for week of September 2nd, 2024 to September 8th. Astrobot came in at second place, under 12,700 copies sold. Now, if that's hard copy or whatnot, it's not selling very well over in Japan. Maybe it's selling well here, right? So this is just that. Square Enix is not selling an underperforming. This is why they're expanding over to Xbox, and this is why they're expanding over to PC as well, so they can get more sales there. But Astrobot, okay, in this other news story, it says Astrobot was the second best-selling PlayStation 5 game during launch week. Okay, so it is doing well that week, but apparently not selling enough in certain regions where they don't know the sales. And obviously, if it sells very well, they'll scream from the rooftops that it sold well. And if it doesn't, they'll just stay quiet, and then you'll just know that it probably didn't sell very well, right? And then maybe a year from now, we'll hear about it, like the 650,000 units of the Portal that was sold for the handheld.
But not to put it down, but
no, the game is actually absolutely loved. People love it.
The Astrobot game is more for kids, and a lot of people who play PlayStation are not little kids, so they don't play those type of games. That's why it doesn't sell well. Just because it's a really good game, if your demographic are people who don't like those type of platformers, even though it's a cool little thing, you can't label your console as an adult console and then make a little kid game, and then when it doesn't sell well, you have questions. Right? I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying the demographics of the people who own a PlayStation probably are not really into cool little platformers like that. Maybe some people are, but the vast majority are probably not.
Yeah. Again, this is not me digging on Astrobot in any way, shape, or form, right?
No, it's a good game.
Yeah. No, it looks fantastic. Obviously, I don't have a PlayStation. My kid would love it. I showed it to him, and he's like, yeah, it looks pretty cool, right? But we don't have that system. But again, it's a first-party title, and it might not sell as well as people think. But then again, we don't know what they thought it would sell, right? Maybe they thought it would sell 1 million copies, 2 million copies, and maybe it does hit that number. Maybe the reports down the road will say Astrobot, below expectations, which means it still sold money, but they thought it would sell this much, but it only sold this much. Still profitable, but not as profitable as they thought it would be, right? But we'll see. Here's a weird story. Or go ahead, Sarge. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I want to know what expectations is for any of them. They always say it didn't meet their expectations. Does anyone ever say we sold our game and it met expectations? Like, does anyone ever say that?
Right.
No, I haven't heard it yet.
Well, here's a weird story because Tango Game Works that made Hi-Fi Rush made a good game. Underperformed, right? It didn't sell well. They didn't market it well. It was on Game Pass. People loved it though. They played it, just like we're talking about Astrobot. People loved the game. It played. It was a game. It was a make a game, sell a game, but just didn't sell well. They said 4 million people played it. We don't know how many people bought it. Anyway, Hi-Fi Rush got the studio GameWorks got closed, right? With 3 other studios, 4 total. Okay, but then we find out 3 months later that they sold Tango Game Works to Crafton Chief Studios. So Crafton Chief. Okay. So now they bought.
When did Kraft get into gaming?
Right. So they bought the game studio Tango Game Works. So here it says, we don't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us money, Crafton Chief says, but they bought Tango Game Works anyway to maintain their legacy, which I find it really weird that one, the studio closed down, but then it didn't really close to the public, right? In public, we thought it was closed, but then it came out later.
I don't know what you mean by their legacy. Like what the title, the name by itself.
Here's the thing:
is Crafton going to hang on to the name and protect it from what? What are they talking about?
That's just it, though. They didn't take all the IPs from Tango Game Works. They bought the studio, and Microsoft sold them the Hi-Fi Rush IP, right? So they took that game. And now they're coming out. Now, I haven't read this article, so let's read it real fast. It says, it's been quite a year for Tango Game Works after releasing the acclaimed Hi-Fi Rush in 2023. It was shut down by Microsoft in May of 2024, only to be rescued from the oblivion a few months later by PUBG publisher. Okay, the new interview of game developer Crafton CEO says, he explained that the company's motivation for snapping up Tango, and he claims it wasn't for money, it was for the love of the game. Now he says, quote, "We wanted to maintain their legacy," Kim said. "Although it did not have a big success in their games, we saw many creative worth pursuing. This is why we wanted to work with the organization." Now, the real goal for the acquisition, Kim said, is to increase the diversity of Krafton's lineup, making video games inherently risky, hit or miss business, but having more projects lined up actually a way to mitigate the risk. Because of them, they might work out. He continues by saying, "We can't acquire Tango Game Works based off of their financials for the numbers, right?" Kim said, "But we don't think that Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us money, to be frank, but it's part of our attempt. We have to keep it trying and to develop the games in the spirit of challenging take." Now, as far as why Krafton picked up Hi-Fi Rush Tango Games deal, but not the arguably more well-known Evil Within or Ghostwire Tokyo games, or the short version is that they wanted to get a deal done fast in order to minimize the gap for Tango employees. Attempting to acquire all the Tango games would compliance of the deal too much, and Kim said that the Krafton decided that the Hi-Fi Rush is one of the gamers really wanted more. Right, so this is why they didn't pick up the other IPs. They snagged it up real quick, only grabbed this IP, and they're looking at that. We just want Tango Game Works and the employees to come back, basically, and make Hi-Fi Rush. Now, they might not make money for them, but it's a risk they're willing to take. What do you think about this?
I don't know if they're being serious. This is the whole title's confusing and what they're even trying to do, right? Are they really trying to save the game?
Their legacy.
Or are they just yeah, but saving the legacy means
of a game that didn't sell well.
You think the game didn't sell well, but you don't want it to go away completely, even though you know you can't make a game and make it sell well? It doesn't make any sense.
I just don't know why you would buy the company when you could have just bought the IP. Do you know what I mean? They didn't buy the rest of the IPs. They only bought this IP and the studio. So they bought the studio, made a deal with Microsoft, and said, "We'll buy the studio and throw in Hi-Fi Rush."
Sold off the other IPs, but kept that one.
They sold. They didn't take any other major IPs that they had. They only took Hi-Fi Rush and the studio. It's very. This is such a strange predicament from when it closed down. We thought the game was good. It didn't do well. They closed the studio down. 3 months later, the studio sold. They only take one IP, and now the IP that they have that they're coming out with, like, yeah, we bought Tango Game Works and we got Hi-Fi Rush, but Hi-Fi Rush 2 is not going to make money for us. Like, what? Why? Then why would you?
Why do you say that? Why do you even say it?
I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't know, chat. Why do you guys think? Do you think this is weird? Do you think this is?
I'm gonna have to look at this. I'm gonna have to look at this and see what this company's doing.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
I'm curious now. I'm curious.
Reese says the whole situation cracks me up. The same people getting after Microsoft for closing them down got after them for selling them. Yeah, it's so weird. Publicly traded company bought a company just to be nice. Yeah, it's so for their legacy. But you would think their legacy would be like, yeah, we bought the studio and all the IPs because we loved all the IPs and we wanted to keep them alive and going. But you could have just bought the IP of Hi-Fi Rush and put your own people on it.
I mean, just by the way it's written and what it says, it sounds like it sounds like Krafton knows a lot of people inside Tango Game Works. It sounds like they're trying to keep those people together and have keep their own jobs instead of them being separated and having to start all over again. Is the first thing that comes to mind. But to say something like, "We bought the company, the game's not going to make us any money, but we didn't want to break them apart," like someone has to have leverage somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me that they're willing to spend the money, and we don't even know what they bought. We don't even know what they paid for the company. Obviously, it's not public knowledge. Okay, but they bought the company, they bought the IP from Microsoft, and then, which is funny because Microsoft sold it, right? So they made money off of it, and then these people are like, yeah, we're not going to make money off of this. Okay, I don't know why you would admit that out loud, right? Just make the game and sell the game and see if it makes it. Maybe they're playing 4D chess, Sarge. Maybe if they put it out there to the people that loved Hi-Fi Rush so much that they said, we're not going to make money, they'll be like, yeah, you will, because the people will rally around it to make Hi-Fi Rush 2 successful and then shove it in the face of Microsoft and say, see, you let this go and it made money, Microsoft. Another bad move, Phil Spencer, right?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's some kind of leverage thing that somebody knows somebody in the company. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense why you would buy a company if you know you can't make money off the game that they make. I don't know what that is.
Well,
we bought them because we didn't want them to get separated, but we know that game is not going to make any money, but the team is good, So we're gonna let the team. What that probably says outside the lines is the team is good. Let them make a different game. He's just announcing that we didn't buy the studio because of that game because we can't make money off of it. That's what it really sounds like.
Right. It's just another game in our repertoire. But
that, like, I think whether or not the actual writer miswrote that or didn't know how to structure it well, but the quote for a guy to say that about an article about an appropriation of a company doesn't make sense. You wouldn't buy a company then say we bought them because we didn't know we know we can't make money off that title. It doesn't make any sense why you would even say that ever you would say that.
I forgot to bring this article up after the EA one, but this is another EA article that we have next. Black Panther game will feature a new storytelling tech that'll be used across various EA studios. Ooh, sounds impressive. Real quick, let me answer a question for JoJo. It says, Mike, are you going to be playing Shadows when it releases? I am not, and it has nothing to do with the samurai not being a samurai or DEI or SBI. It has everything to do with I just not interested in AC games. I haven't played an AC game in quite some time. The last one I think I bought and purchased was Brotherhood. The last one I got that came with my system was the Xbox One, and that was Unity, I think it was, when I played it, which was super broken, buggy. And I own Odyssey because it was gifted from one of my viewers or my mods. The Brainchild gave it to me. I've never played it, so I'm not interested in the AC game. So we're not playing it when it comes out. All right, so this story is, in July of 2023, following several rumors, Electronic Arts confirmed to be working on the Black Panther game development by Cliffhanger Games, a Seattle-based studio founded in 2021. After quite a bit of a silence, the project, which was supposed to be launched after Motive Iron Man game, President EA of Entertainment Technology revealed that some interesting tidbits about the Black Panther game. She discussed the company's efforts in a $20 billion action/adventure in action RPG segment of the market during EA's Investor Day 2024. It says the most interesting piece of info with the new tech hinted at the new technology will deliver a groundbreaking design of storytelling. Not only is the Black Panther game, but also a future EA games, as it will also be used by other internal teams. Okay, no further details were given. But what do they? Does it say? The next studio, Seattle Cliffhanger Games, renowned leadership team known for the innovative action RPGs, Middle Earth, Shadows Mordor, Black Panther will be a love letter to fans, combining a vibrant character, a world of Wakanda, and an original story. All new technology delivering groundbreaking design storytelling, and will actually transfer across many games and studios in our company. That's interesting, Sarge. What does that mean? Does it mean the storytelling stuff is, when it says it'll actually transfer across many games in the studios in our company? So what kind of groundbreaking storytelling device do they think they have?
I think that's the most convoluted sentence of the word continuity. Like that is the most word salad sentence to just say our games are going to have story continuity.
Here it says,
right?
At the time, the Nemesis system was praised for creating unique moments between the player and the NPCs. It's possible that Cliffhanger is working on a similar concept, perhaps empowered by generative AI, which is being used extensively at EA.
Extensively.
Extensively.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
You mean, so if AI is being used extensively, that means the guys you're going to fight in the Battlefield game, the AI guys must be really hard then, huh?
Well,
yeah.
I hope they're better than some of the other games. Well, EA Battlefront 1, when it came out, the Stormtroopers were so dumb. Battlefront 2, they're much better. They're some of the best AI in that game. Okay, when you're fighting against them, but I don't know. What is the groundbreaking story technology, chat? What do you think it is? Do you think it's
groundbreaking story?
Technology, not the story's groundbreaking. Technology, right, for storytelling.
Technology to tell a story.
Yeah,
like words. We're gonna
hire people that are actually writers that went to college.
Best words ever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They hired a writer.
Yeah, that's exactly the great technology. We found these people.
Writer's AI, but the writer's AI.
We found these people in this place called school, and they're actually writers. Like, what are we talking about? Groundbreaking it's storytelling technology.
Word salad, dude. It's word salad. They never just say what the fuck they mean. It's just this constant, convoluted word salad, period. Right? Brand new storytelling tech. Okay, let's run through it. Writers write.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
That's how
Good
you tell a story.
storytelling.
Somebody's got to write words that tell a story.
We-
Storytelling tech. I don't know what that is. Right.
I got it.
Writer.
I got it. A writer's going to write inside of AI program, and the AI writer is going to redo what they did because they have to feed in the information. They're going to be like, this is good storytelling. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper and submit it to the AI, and the AI is going to put different nouns and adverbs in there.
Storytelling tech. Sounds amazing. Storytelling tech.
Right.
Rock on.
That's what they'll call the AI. We have the AI writer. Exclusive technology. We put a guy in a room with a pen and paper. This great technology called the writer. The last story, Sarge, I want to talk about, which it's like a speed bump. We're going to go over it. I want to laugh in the face because when they announced this years ago, I was like, this is going to bomb so hard. And then I found out it was a television series, and I was happy it wasn't a movie. But the last story is that Time Bandits canceled by Apple TV Plus after one season. Okay. So
you got a whole season?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell this. It was 10 episodes, 10 episodes, first season. Okay. I don't even know when it came out. Okay. It had favorable reviews, apparently, by the reviewers. Right? Let me look it up real fast. Let me go to
favorable reviews.
Yeah, let me go to Rotten Tomato real fast. Let's see what it made. Okay. Rotten Tomatoes.
How are you going to take a movie made in like 1980 that nobody remembers at all?
I remember
turn it
it.
into a series.
I remember
Turn it into a series that no one gives a shit about, but don't use any of the characters that were in the original at all.
Yeah. So here's the favorable. 87% of the writers love this show, and 48% of the actual people that watched it didn't like the show. Okay, so Time Bandits. I don't know if you can tell this, guys. The people that tell you that diversity is big in the world. They need diversity in these roles. Those of you that watch Time Bandits, I don't know if you remember this, but there was little people or dwarfs.
There were 7 of them.
Yeah,
there were 7 of them plus
6.
the kid.
Six with the kid. Six plus 7 with the kid. 6 of them. I believe.
I'll look it up right now. There were a lot of little people in that movie.
All right, so Time Bandits' latest adventure came to an end. I didn't even know it came out. Had opted out not to renew the series in adaptation and the classic film for the second season. The news comes almost a month after the 10 episodes first season and fantasy series starring Lisa Kudrow. Because when I think Time Bandits, I think Lisa Kudrow. Okay, Phoebe from Friends. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so Lisa Kudrow releases a batches of 2 episodes weekly. Oh my God. So it was only out for 5 weeks, and it got canceled while it was in the middle of it. It says the developer is not entirely surprising, despite the nostalgia factor of mostly favorable reviews. Time Bandits creator Clement, and then it's all Taika Waititi. I always can't say his name. Did not attract a large enough audience. When I heard that Taika was on it, I was out. When I watched Love and Blunder, I was out.
There's some missing because the guy on the right side there is the ogre, right? But there were 5 guys with the kid, so it's 5 plus the kid, and then the ogre was part of the story.
So they're missing one, at least in this picture.
If we're following the old cast type of
right. I just don't understand. But people complain about, we gotta get people that are in these parts to do these parts. Well, if you're making a remake of Time Bandits. Do we not have 6 dwarves
does
in the world?
Anybody in this chat room that knows the original movie Time Bandits, does anybody else can just with your heart believe that they are out of ideas? If this is what you went to, think about it. All the stuff you could have remade over the years, all of it, all the crazy movies from the 80s that you could have redid. This is what you picked. This, right? What the fuck, man? Because you're probably like a little kid. I was a little kid.
I love this. I thought this movie was great.
I was a little kid when this movie came out.
Yeah, I love this movie when it came out. Right? Like, movies are supposed to transport you to a world and imagination and stuff like that. And this was such
I had to watch this movie like multiple times over my life to understand what the hell was going on in this movie. Because when I was a little kid, I didn't understand what was going on.
What's the first scene that comes to your head when you think of the movie?
The first scene?
Yeah, what comes when you think of Time Bandits? What's the first thing that comes to your head?
When they came out of his closet, like a boogeyman type of thing. They were living in his closet.
Yeah,
they came out of his closet.
When I close my eyes and think about it, I think of the scene where they're in the cage and they're going back and forth and they're swinging the cage and they're trying to they're trying to grab the rope, right? And the tank. I remember the tank when they had the battle.
No, it was the closet thing. It was that's why I had nightmares forever because I always thought things were going to come out of my closet. I watched so many movies where things are coming out of closets, like Poltergeist, Time Bandits, all this kind of stuff where things are coming out of your closet. I hated my closet. It creaked. If I saw a light, nothing, I was freaked out. Believe me.
Toys making noise. Yeah.
Oh, toys making noise? Worst.
Yeah.
The worst.
We had a couple.
Especially when,
we had a couple.
Especially when they're off forever and then all of a sudden they go on for no reason.
Yep.
I kicked the shit out of that thing. I kicked the shit out of that robot.
Yeah. So yeah, another show ruined by Tiki Waititi, okay, or Taika Waititi, okay. When I saw Love and Blunder, I was like, I'm done with this dude. I was like, I'm done with this dude. He's just ruining everything, right? He doesn't even, at this point, I don't even think he cares, right? He's just like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. I'm just gonna do whatever. Like, if you're gonna make a movie, The Crow came out, Crow bombed, okay. Crow is done. Okay, called that when I said I was like, you don't need to make the Crow, just leave the Crow alone, just re-air the Crow.
Exists. Go watch it.
Yeah,
Crow exists. Go watch it.
Take the Crow, put it back in the theaters for people to watch. Like you don't need to make the Crow. The Crow bombed. So much so. Let me tell you how much the Crow bombed. Okay, the Crow bombed so bad. I don't even think it. I think it's out of theaters. I think it left the theaters so fast, Sarge. Worse than Borderlands. Okay. Worse than Borderlands.
Worse than Borderlands.
Worse than Borderlands. Yes. Okay. Opening day or opening weekend, it made $4.6 million. Okay. Domestically, it made $9.2 million. Worldwide, it made 12, or internationally, made 12.8. Grand total of 22 million in its run. It's done. It's done. It's not in theaters anymore. It's completely gone. 21 days it lasted.
Don't forget, love never dies.
Look at this. It made $9,000, less than $10,000 today.
If you want to see The Crow, just watch The Crow. It's not like it's dated. It's not like The Crow is a special effects movie. It's a story. A story movie. It's like a revenge tale. Like done old school style. Like didn't have a lot of special effects. It's just a gun movie. You want to see The Crow? Just go watch it.
Yeah, great film. Look.
Press the button on your Netflix. Watch Crow. Done.
There's the Crow.
I don't
right
understand.
There's the Crow.
I don't understand.
That's the Crow. That's Brandon Lee's Crow.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
There he is. Right. That's who has this. Right?
Yeah, that's the Crow.
That's the Crow.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Crow, right? Who buys a Crow statue? Okay, I do, right? And that's why I said the Crow doesn't need to be made again, right? It just leave it as is, right? They tried to make Crow 2, it bombed. Okay,
flip on your iPad, talking to it. I want to watch The Crow. That movie will come up. Watch it.
Right.
Pay the $2.99. Watch The Crow. Done deal.
So I'm happy The Crow bombed. I'm happy Time Bandits bombed. I'm happy that all of these movies and shows that come out that from my childhood, from my teenage years, are all bombing and shitting the bed. Good. Make your own shit. Okay, make your own shit out there.
That's what they're doing. They're just sitting at home and they're going through their phone. They're looking from like 1979 to like 1988. They're going, what can I make? They're just going through old stuff. What can I make? Nothing going on up here. Just going through all the movies. Where one of these has got to be. I could remake this for some money. Like they're just sitting around. Like you can't think up anything. You guys got nothing going on.
You know they're making. I said this a couple weeks ago. They're making Fight Club again, but it's an all-girls Fight Club.
All women Fight Club. It's going to be amazing.
Amazing. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be amazing.
Do you think here? Let's take this. Do we think when that movie comes out, do we think it bombs worse than Borderlands and worse than The Crow? Like, it's getting closer and closer to zero. Like it's like golf scores now. Like how bad can a AAA or blockbuster movie fail?
I think that Fight Club will do worse than Borderlands, but it will break a record having most lesbians in a theater at the same time. That's what I think is going to happen.
I mean, I think if they wanted, they would call it Dyke Club.
That would be the spoof, but
Yeah.
we can't do spoof movies anymore. The sense of humor is
That
gone.
that would make more money than
Dyke Club would be hilarious.
Dyke Club. Yeah, that would make
Yes.
a lot more money.
Yes.
But who knows? You know, that's just what I'm.
I just think that we're in such a crazy part. But when was the last time you saw a spoof movie?
I mean, it would have to be the Scream spinoffs, right? I think that's the last ones, right? What was those called? With the Wayne brothers, the Wayne.
There hasn't. Yes, Reese, that's absolutely true. You're making Fight Club with an all-female cast. Yes. No, there hasn't been any spoof movies for a long time.
What was the spoofs of Scream? What was that? Yeah, you can't make white chicks anymore. Yeah, white chicks.
Right? That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Apollyon. That's exactly right.
First rule of Women's Fight Club is tell your friends.
They can't keep a secret. Because they can't keep a secret.
Oh man,
I don't even see how that movie's gonna work. They can't keep a secret. How would they have a Fight Club?
Oh, scary movie. That's it.
Work.
Scary movie.
It would never work. It would never work.
Oh my god, dude! Like whatever.
Hey girls, we're gonna beat the crap out of each other. We're not gonna tell a soul.
Oh my god! I went to a Fight Club last night.
Yeah, it would be on Twitter in like 6 hours. They would tell everybody. Everybody in the fucking planet would know there's a Fight Club. It's just so dumb.
I can't wait for that movie to come out. I can't. I think I'll watch it just so I can talk shit about it. I think I will. I'll join that era of YouTube. I will watch that movie just so I can talk shit about the Women's Fight Club.
It's gonna be so bad. I'm hoping it's got to be a parody. Please tell me
Not a parody.
Please tell me it's a parody. If it's a parody, it'll work.
Yeah, if it's a parody, if it's a parody, then it will make money.
100%.
Yeah, but if it's not making fun of it, and it's a serious movie,
you're out.
It's gonna bomb.
Yeah, if you do Girls Fight Club, that would be a hilarious parody. Yes,
I'm telling you right now.
Otherwise, no way.
Women's Fight Club comes out. Wayne's brothers come back to the movie theater and they make Dyke Club. That would be the best. It's like Spaceballs.
Never happen.
It's like Spaceballs.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen.
Well,
it'll never happen.
All right, chat. That is going to do it for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. Episode 411.
They would fight a bear. They would fight a bear. They'd fight a bear. I know they would fight a bear.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So we'll be back on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here 8 p.m. You can watch the past broadcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. You can listen to us on Spotify or watch us on Spotify as well. You can listen to all the stuff I do on my morning shows. I do the Daily Grind in the mornings, Monday through Thursday. We do chatting with on Wednesday nights when I have a guest. And we also do Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast, on Thursday nights. So I do lots of different stuff. We do gameplay. We do uploads. Actually, we don't do uploads anymore. We do live streams, all about live stuff. So if you guys like this, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. And I'd like to thank Kuda Papa for the 5 gifted memberships earlier. I appreciate that very much. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Game on, guys.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.